Welcome everyone to Top Dog Shattuck channel, and joining me is Martine.
Hello, everyone. I'm an industry engineer, and I look forward to chatting here with Top Dog. Uh, and we're gonna discuss a wide variety of topics, hopefully, and make it fun. And you can join if you want. And one of the important topics is probably gonna be about the Creator, or other people call him God. So we can discuss that as well, because I see that Top Dog is into that. So we'd love to discuss that as well. So,
Mhm.
where do you want to start? I saw you posting a lot of comments, spamming that comment section in Sal's video with a lot of questions. I didn't read it. I read it afterwards. Like I went scan through it, and
Mhm.
I saw you were trying to help me as well with the avatar, or what do you call it, a picture. I at least put the picture.
OBS
Yeah, yeah,
video
yeah,
cam.
yeah, yeah. So I fixed that, but I'm not as advanced as you yet. You're in another level.
Well, it took
So
me forever.
yeah,
So
I'll get you
trial and
someday.
error.
I'll watch some YouTube videos how to do this, and no, it's okay. But okay, so what I wanted to, one of the things we can also talk about is, like, a scientist, they are looking into the universe and like searching for a code that someone like broadcasts. You understand? There's like say they find like an alien code broadcast from another universe or from another planet, then they know uh, it probably comes from intelligence. But if there is commands, giving commands to machines or something from another planet being broadcast, then it even points to further intelligence, because I don't think we've ever seen commands being given to machines or without intelligence. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't it that reasonable to say, okay, that's quite strong evidence for an intelligence sending this code? Understand?
Well,
Or what would
so
you say?
far what I've seen is that the scientists uh, have received some messages from space, but they've been quasars, I think, or
Yeah,
our own
yeah.
technology reflecting into
Yeah,
their.
because they just do the same. Like you can see, they're not actually a code, like giving commands or something. It's like just the same thing over and over, and then it's like a quasar or something that's just making that sound, or whatever you call it. That so that's that. I understand, but say scientist finds like actual code that you can see there's a language that's giving commands, then it would say, yes, this is quite good evidence for intelligence somewhere else in the universe. Wouldn't you say that's reasonable to say, okay, we found this code, and we found commands in it, and we found um, quite highly intelligent language in it, so it's most probably comes from intelligence. It's quite reasonable to say that, don't you think? Or what do you think?
Well,
Scientists find code, then
sometimes we can get natural things, and we might mistake them as code. That's what I was talking about, the quasars and stuff, because it matters who
yeah,
or how you do it. It can actually give you code and stuff. The natural repeating
yeah, if
whatever
it's
in
repeating, then
nature,
it's not
but
like a language.
it has to be really direct and complex. But then
Yeah.
it's hard because it's so the distances. Uh, so it won't happen again because it's so hard to aim for so
Mm.
far and stuff.
It's like a needle in a haystack if you want to try
It's a
and get.
little bit more like
Yeah,
a electron in
in the galaxy.
a universe, yeah, or a
Yeah,
photon, yeah.
yeah, so that's
Confusing.
quite hard, but why I say this is that reasoning. Don't you think that's reasonable to say, if we find this complex code that you said, it must be like complex, and it must be like actually a language, then we can say, okay, that this probably comes from an intelligence, most likely, and it could be really good evidence for intelligence, won't you say?
I guess in a hypothetical way, it
Yeah.
would.
So
But I don't know if we
yeah.
ever had anything that happened in real life yet, other than our own technology getting
Yeah.
just misunderstood. Because it's like people that do that in the war, like World War II. They had like these encoding things and stuff, and
Yeah.
people found out how to decode them. But that's still
Yeah.
human. But
Yeah.
how would we
Yeah.
know
That's
if
true.
with the alien? That's another thing.
Yeah. But like your avatar, even that's programming code. And
Yeah.
I think you behind that avatar is also programming code. I think there's like I think scientists have found like a programming code at the base of life, and it gives commands to nanomolecular machines. So it's the same kind of thing that we were talking about, but it's just at the base of life, and it gives command to these nano machines. So there's thousands of nano machines running through you, like thousands of them executing these commands that is written in the code. So, and our computer code is a binary code, and the code that is at the base of life is a full 4-digit code. So, wouldn't you say that's reasonable to say that this could be evidence for intelligence?
But that's still chemicals reacting to each other, in because nature is the one that seems to be that reproduces, not a design thing.
But like
It-
that's like saying a computer is just electrons reacting to each other. You understand? It's just, or
yeah,
a pen
but
and paper is just chemical reaction. But I'm talking about the language on the chemical reaction. You understand? And people have
it's
tried
hard.
to, scientists have tried to crack this code. Actually, they're trying to crack the DNA code so we can write and we can play like God. In fact, like if we can crack the code more and we can understand everything about it, then we can start programming and telling the machines what we want them to do. You understand? So
But it's still on design or on intelligence. That
yeah,
seems to be that's the case, because naturally we can do individual stuff and see each process and stuff. That's
yeah.
how why abiogenesis and stuff seems to be more likely. But we can't do it all
Abiogenesis.
together. We can't make life just with all of the stuff that we know. It's just individual setups like evolution and stuff. We do it by individual understanding things.
But abiogenesis, it's quite hard unless you have an intelligence that does it. It would be a miracle if it happens on its own, but it's not a miracle if we are able to do it. Like if a creator does it, then it's not a miracle. You understand? And I think if we get intelligence enough, we're gonna be able to make it from scratch. But at the moment, we're not that level yet. We're not godlike yet.
So if something's designed I mean, yeah, if something's designed in nature doesn't mean it's intelligent, though. That's another thing I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Nature itself is the intelligent, or not intelligent, but designer.
Yeah, but that's like saying the CPU designs other CPUs, but it's still a computer CPU can still be traced back to a creator. You understand? It works. A CPU, a whole computer. If you build the computer, give it everything, then it works on its own. On its own, the creator doesn't have to sit next to the computer the whole time. It can work on its own and function on its own, and it can create new programs on its own. So, but you can still trace that back to a creator. And you can
But it's
see
not
the,
reproducing, and it's not chemical reactions. That's what I'm saying.
but we're going to be able to make computers in the future from biology, and they're going to be able to reproduce just like normal biology. Like we're going to be able to make nanomolecular machines that reproduce on their own. And then you can still trace it back to intelligence because you can go and look in the code and see, okay, there's design strategies here and all kinds of things that point to intelligence. What do you say?
Well, it's hard because we're like emulating that because we're observing that in nature. So our design things look like the things in nature, and so then you have
we're copying some
the
stuff.
misconception that just because humans have designed things, that nature is designed or something. That's a misconception.
But the thing is, I think we designed like machines and stuff.
Intelligent design.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry. There's like machines we've designed and stuff, and then we find the same things at the bottom of nature long after we design it, like an electric motor. Scientists have found like a small electric motor in a bacteria, and it's like the most efficient engine in the whole world, they call it. And it's like someone figured these things out before us, figured how to make engines, how to make programming code, how to give things commands through programming code. It's like there's probably another intelligence that figured this out, because we've never seen programming code come from non-intelligence.
Except that we do. It's called nature.
Yeah, but that's like the flat earthers seeing all the other planets around and then saying we're special, we're flat. They see all the other planets, it's all round, and then they say we are special, we are flat. You would think if every programming code has an intelligence, then it would be reasonable to conclude that we're not special, we're also made by intelligence. It's just natural. Supernatural would be code coming into existence without an initial input of intelligence. We've never seen that. I don't know if you have an example of code coming into existence without an initial input of intelligence, because then my argument would fall apart.
How could we observe something that we don't observe as it happening? I mean, nature does chemical reactions all the time. We don't observe it, and if you like volcanoes and stuff, if you don't know how the tectonic plates and stuff and how the Earth is getting pulled by the gravity and everything, and a whole bunch of different factors, do you think that a volcano was intelligent or something?
See, say me and you were in a game, okay, and I was telling you about this code I found in the game at the bottom of the game, and I was telling you I found design strategies in the game, and in the code it's like automatic error correction, files within folders, and data encryption. And I said to you, all these things point to intelligence, and then you said, but look at the volcano in the game. Does that volcano also require intelligence? Well, that is not good evidence for intelligence. There's quite better evidence. The best evidence is programming code. It always can be traced back to intelligence. I've never seen programming code not being able to be traced back to intelligence.
Because we know that humans make code for the game and stuff, but we don't see anything making a life. So other than nature itself.
No. We actually also we actually are following this in God's footsteps by programming our own nanomachines. Like we program our own nanomachines in biology. Scientists have figured out how to make their own biological machines. And if you go and look at the code of the DNA and everything, then you can trace it back. You will see there's design strategies and everything in that code. I don't know if you've realized that. And I don't know if you know about the nanomolecular machines in a cell. There's crazy a lot of machines working together to achieve objectives, to execute code and build your whole body. I don't know if you know anything about that. Have you heard about that? Or you're checking it?
They're working on nanotechnology, yeah, but they're just like very simple motion.
Yeah, we're still simple. We're still not advanced enough to like figure out how to build like super advanced biological machines yet. But we can do the basics, and it's with the help of computers. We're figuring out how to do the basics. But I think in the future we will be able to make our own biological machines, and then people. You can still, if someone says no, that biological machine is not designed, you can look at the code and figure out if there's intelligence in that code. Like if you can see the fingerprints of intelligence in that code, like design strategies and stuff like that, pointing to an intelligent creator. Does that sound reasonable? Or
But we know of the how we can know about the people making these things, but we don't see anything being other than nature doing the natural processes and stuff.
Yeah,
ever.
A computer we don't
human.
have to see. We don't have to see a computer's creator to know it has a creator. You understand? So the same with nature. If we find enough evidence that there is intelligence, has to be intelligence somewhere at the initial input, then you don't have to see the intelligence to know there must have been an intelligence. The same with the computer. Say aliens found our computer, and they don't see the creator of this computer, but they see everything running on its own. And the machines are even duplicating on its own. The computer is building new computers from the programming code it has, and then everything is working on its own. Then you can still figure out there must be intelligence by looking deep into the computer and the programming code and everything like that, and seeing the fingerprints of an intelligence. Or what do you think? Because
because we know about we can see people that we have recording and stuff. They have evidence and stuff that we talk about it, that we can do those things. But we see nature doing its own thing too.
Yeah, but we're gonna do nature as well. We're gonna program following the creator's footstep that created that, and we're gonna build our own biological machines. And the DNA code, we're gonna put our own commands in there, and the machines are gonna follow our commands and not the creator's command anymore, because we're changing the programming code. And so that's just simulating that there's intelligence. We're just simulating that there must be intelligence to edit this code. You can build a code that edits itself and creates a new game or a better game or something like that, but you can still trace that back to intelligence, because programming code doesn't come from non-intelligence without initial intelligence.
It's not only humans and trying to make sense out of the DNA, then calling it code, because we emulate it into the chemicals into letters and stuff for our understanding.
Do you think you're like a biological machine, or what do you see yourself as? Like, because some atheists think they don't have free will, so then they're like a robot, telling other robots that they don't have a creator.
To me, it's free will has been shown that it's an illusion.
Okay, so you're a robot.
How do you get out of that, really? That's what I'm saying. It's an illusion. How can you get out of being a robot since you are a product of your environment and stuff? So
yeah, I think you have a robot body, but I think just like your avatar is like a program or a robotic avatar in a game, so too I think your body is a program, and it works like a machine. But I think that you have a soul. You might not think so, but I think there's a soul in that body of yours. So it's like a game. So someone kills your avatar, you're still alive, and I think you have free will. But you think you don't have free will. It's just an illusion. Or what?
Because minds have built from evolution and stuff to be what we are now, but that's somewhat pre-done. But then we live our life in an environment and stuff, so then the programming gets built upon that, and then it's here we are, I guess, after many years. I mean, you ever seen a baby where they're like muscles and stuff don't work, or they can't really see or know how to control any of the muscles? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it takes years.
Yeah, I think the your body is still like super young, so it's like building itself still. But there's a massive building process from when you're young, even when when it's like a sperm and egg. There's like a massive amounts of programming code coming together, and then everything automatically works on its own after that, because just like a computer, it can work on its own after it's been set in motion. So, and then it builds this whole avatar that I think you're inhabiting. And so if I kill you now, I don't think you would be dead, like truly dead. At the moment you think you're gonna be truly dead, but I don't think so. Just like if I kill that avatar you're using on the computer, you won't be dead. I can cut its throat off or I can delete it and you won't be dead.
Have you ever studied the brain? How?
Yeah,
What
it's the
part?
most complex thing in the universe. It's one of the most complex thing that we know of in the universe. It has like super lot of connections. I think it has more connections than all the connections we have with computers. I think it's something like that.
It's like 100 trillion
Yeah,
connections
that's
or something.
crazy.
I got a video for you about
Sure.
that.
You can send it.
I'm gonna show it on the stream.
Okay, sure.
Oh, Rational Appearances is here. Hey,
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Glad to meet you.
Same.
Have you been listening a little bit?
I just got here over from a speed
okay.
stream, actually.
Okay, cool. Now we're talking about the programming code at the base of life. I think there's a programming code, and I think there's design strategies in that programming code. Well, they found like automatic error correction, files within folders, and data encryption and stuff like that. And I think it's quite reasonable to say that those things point to an intelligence. What would you say? Okay, he's going to show a video now.
well, after he answers.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think it would. I wouldn't necessarily say an intelligence or a code or anything like that. I would say it's due to evolution. Are you or what's your position, if I may ask? I haven't been here for the.
My position is that I think there's a lot of evidence for creator, and I think the DNA code is just one piece of many pieces of evidence pointing towards a creator. But I think evolution is not that good of excuse, because a computer can work on itself and improve itself, but it still has an intelligence that put it in motion. You understand? The same with we're gonna in the future be able to program an organism to evolve, and it's still gonna have initial input of an intelligence.
That's a what if almost there.
No, we already have. They are already programming their own biological machines, and I think they're already making their own, what do you call it, plants and everything, changing
I know
the DNA.
that. I mean, the way you were trying to say it, I guess I meant that was. I already knew about that. We can do all that. Yeah, I was watching hybrids and stuff earlier today.
Yeah, so we're following in the creator's footsteps by editing the code and trying to crack the code. Scientists are cracking more and more of the code, so they already know which part of the code gives your color of your eyes and which part gives the programs for every part of your body. So yeah, which video did you want to show?
About the brain.
Okay, sure.
Here we go.
It's amazing to consider that I'm holding in my hands a place where someone once felt, thought, and loved. For centuries, scientists have been battling to understand what this unappealing object is all about. What the object is all about.
Here is this massive jelly you can hold in the palm of your hand. And It can contemplate the vastness of interstellar space. Contemplate the vast
brain has evolved from the inside out. Its structure reflects all the stages through which it has passed.
Information in the form of energy streams in simultaneously through all of our sensory systems in the form of energy, all of our sensory systems, and then it explodes into this enormous collage of what this present moment looks like, what it feels like, and what it sounds like. It explodes into this enormous collage. And in this moment, we are perfect. We are whole, and we are beautiful.
It appears rather gruesome, wrinkled like a walnut, and with the consistency of mushrooms, like a walnut.
What we know is included in cells called neurons. And there are something like 100 trillion neural connections. This intricate and marvelous network of neurons has been called an enchanted loom. An enchanted loom. The neurons store sounds too, and snatches of music. Whole orchestras play inside our heads. 20 million volumes worth of information is inside the heads of every one of us. The brain is a very big place in a very small space.
Information in the form
Okay, that's. You can watch the rest of it on your own.
Sure,
sometime.
but it's quite extraordinary that brain can process so much information and do so many instructions while you're not thinking even on it. Your heart is being instructed to beat without your thinking. It's the brain is instructing it beat now, beat now, beat now. If you take away your brain, then it would stop. Everything would, then your whole body would like stop function. It's like the main brain of a robot, main CPU of a robot. What do you guys think?
Neurons are a little bit more complicated than our human design things.
Yeah, we're catching up.
Because it grows and stuff too. So
Yeah, and if I think
new connections.
yeah, it's like a biological machine that can repair himself, and we're already making some objects that can repair themselves, but it's not as good as the biological objects that can repair themselves. If you get hurt, then your body springs into action and repairs itself and protects itself. It's quite awesome. What do you guys think? Don't you think your body is insanely awesome? I think it's like alien technology almost. That's how crazy
To
it is.
us, our human perspective, of course, is we're only seeing this from our macro understanding. I mean, then until you do science, so then you could see how things work a little bit better. So
Yeah, I wish my first language was actually English. Then I could convey my ideas much better than I'm currently doing. But it's okay. I'm doing okay, I think. But rational empirist, I don't know how to say that, but hopefully I said it right. What do you think about this stuff? Do you think it's a code, or do you just think it's, I don't know. What do you think it is?
well, it's code because also not just because we humans have made it, but I guess the other concept of still another human thing that has information from that code. I bet it's physics and stuff or natural processes that cause that. It's what we call it is code because it does something.
Right. Yeah, I would say that the idea of information and a code is it's a good metaphor, but I don't feel like it's very useful in terms of quantifying change, for instance.
But so you wouldn't agree that it's like a programming code, because scientists have already stored our computer programming code on DNA, and it's much better to store it on that because it lasts much longer than our hard drives, and you can store in like a teaspoon like millions of gigabytes of information. And so in the future, they're already planning to store a lot of information on DNA. and programming code on DNA?
Because
Do you guys
it's, once
know about
again, it's the human changing the not changing, but creating the identity of the chemicals into a program, and then because the DNA stays together for like 100,000 years or something, so it's us humans observing nature and then bending it to our will, kind of.
Right.
It's still nature, though. Just humans doing the things that we want to see. It's the goals and stuff that we want. And so,
What would the scientists have to find in DNA or programming? What kind of programming code do scientists have to find? Then we would say, like, okay, you would agree with me that this would probably comes from an intelligence.
Well, it kind of depends on how you define intelligence.
Like, what do you call it? Not artificial intelligence, but like real entity intelligence, like me and you, where I don't think we're just a robot. We have a robot body, but I think we're inside this robot body, controlling it and telling it what to do.
Right.
So we have some free will, but
Right.
not everything we do is as free will. But I was just wondering, what programming code would we have to find before you would agree that, okay, this probably comes from real intelligence, not just artificial intelligence?
Well, I think you have to make the distinction between a natural intelligence and what we would call a supernatural or beyond intelligence, the latter of which can't be investigated by science.
Okay. If I'm designing a computer program to do something, if I have an if statement, that if statement says if A is greater than 3, then do this. That if statement never says if A kind of sort of statistically matches this sort of pattern, then do this, right?
You can program that.
Huh?
You can actually program that.
You can, yeah, you can program that. You can do it. You can create a statistical function to go ahead and do some AI stuff. But typically, when you're trying to accomplish something real simple, you don't work that way. You will say if A is greater than 3, because that is precisely what you want. So in biochemistry, you'll find a couple of things. You'll find something called consensus sequences, where something will match just sort of kind of a little bit, like 30%, maybe 60%. You'll also find that it's about thermodynamics in the cell, and it is about how many molecules you have. There are gradients. There are things that work that way. But the most significant thing you're going to find is multiple biochemical pathways that all seem to be related to each other, in that if you look at the genes, you'll find that this one gene that does function A looks a little bit like this gene that does function B. It has a lot of matching things, and those matching things have no rhyme nor reason. So, I mean, if we were to find absolute precision in biochemistry, but the thing is, life couldn't work that way. Life would never work like a machine. It can't. A machine would fail. A machine would break down. When you write a program,
that's why we break down. We are biological machines.
Not exactly, because we break down because we're biochemical. But if we were machines, we would not be able to adapt in the same way that we adapt. There's a like when you design a piece of code, what frequently happens is the user will come back and say, "Oh shit, we need this, we need that, we need this," and then you'll go ahead and you'll patch on something. And then it'll fail again, and the user will want something else, and you have to patch on something else. Well, in life, basically, it doesn't work that way. There is this huge collection, this sort of ball of mud, I call it. It has all these different little widgets, and they just kind of flow around the thing like crazy mud flowing around the shape of something, and they manage to find a way. Most of the time. Sometimes, of course, things go extinct. So, I mean, there's a pretty significant difference between how life works and how life is, in quotes, designed, and how we would design a machine. And we're looking at life and we're trying to steal some of those ideas from it. Like we stole Velcro, right? We stole the idea for Velcro from stickers, or whatever. So, I mean, it's, what would I have to see? I guess I would have to see precision and I would have to see variation. It would have to make some sense. But first of all, I would have to see some kind of evidence of a designer that would have done this, because if I go out and I look at my Cadillac, I know that there's a factory in Detroit where there are workers that built that thing.
But say you don't know the workers, you don't know if it came from a factory, you don't know anything.
I sure as hell know.
You can still look at the car and look at how finely tuned it is and all the design strategies in the car, and then realize it's probably made by intelligence. Or what do you think?
But we know the intelligent making it. That's how we know it's intelligence.
But say we find technology on another planet. We find technology on another planet. We don't see the aliens. We don't see anything. We just discover this technology and we investigate it and find code at the base of it and see that it's finely tuned. And we find design strategies like automatic error correction and files and folders and stuff like that. Then it would point to intelligence, and we can then say reasonably that these things might point to intelligence.
Okay.
But in our imagination, we can think of anything, but finding out what's really going on in real life is the hard part. It takes a lot of studying sometimes.
So I'm only going to be here for a few minutes, guys, because I really want to go watch the news. But I just want to make one other point on your alien life or your alien scenario. So we go to another planet and we find a couple of things. We find two different objects, right? And one of them is kind of like this square structure standing up, and it has little fasteners on it and things like that. And we sort of know that an intelligence made it because we make those kinds of things at home. But then on the other hand, we look at another part and we find this other object, and it's this big green blob of stuff that's flowing around and sort of motivating itself across the environment. And then we watch it for a while and it divides into two things. And we realize that now it made two things. And those two things grew into the adult version. And we didn't see any designers anywhere. We just kept seeing this thing building itself over and over again. Okay. So which one has a designer?
But the thing is that blob, you're probably talking about the cell. You're probably referring to a cell at the base of life. If you zoom into that cell, if you zoom into that blob you were talking about, then you would see there's thousands of molecular machines in there.
I don't see machines like you do.
Huh?
Are you a molecular biologist?
No, but I can send you molecular biologists that will explain it to you and show you the nanomolecular machines.
Well, I work on molecular biology every day.
And you haven't seen the molecular machines? None?
I don't see them as molecular machines. I see them as chemistry.
Where can I post the video?
I've seen the videos. I've seen all that stuff. I've been doing this for quite a while. And
so you don't call it a molecular
machine?
machines?
No, not a machine. No.
Okay, I'll send you. Where can I send it to you? You can just
speed of sound of gravity at gmail.com.
Okay, I just posted here in the private chat. You can just scan through that. It's like a 6-minute video showing you the molecular machines in our body. Just some of them. There's thousands of them doing certain jobs in our body.
Why would you think that I have not seen this video?
But you said you don't see any molecular machines. You said you don't see any in biology.
Right,
and
because this is a cartoon. This is not a picture of the cell. This is a cartoon. When you look into what's actually going on in the cell,
they show you the cell. They zoom out and then
the cell is showing you a cartoon. These guys,
no. But later, just watch it like at 2 minutes, like 2 minutes 30 seconds. They start showing a cell around 2 minutes 30 seconds.
Right.
They zoom out and then you see the blob that you were talking about. But if you zoom into that blob, you see thousands of molecular machines working together.
I'm not seeing a cell. I'm seeing animation.
No, a 2 minute, what do you call it? 2 minute, 30 seconds. Then they zoom out and they show you the whole cell and how it divides and all the molecular machines there working together to divide the cell and build objects inside the cell.
Okay, I see a ball of mud, a ball of cotton. Is this an actual microscopy of a cell with the microtubules and everything in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know this channel? It's like 8 million subscribers, and it does a lot of science. So
yeah, they do a lot of really, really good animations, and these are doing us a bit of a disservice when people believe that the animations are the reality. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
They're just a concept.
They're just trying to show us. It's so small that you.
Yeah, they're trying to show us.
Yeah.
They're
What
trying to show our simple primate minds what's really happening.
Yeah.
Here's an actual cells being divided on salamander, I think.
Yeah, and I can tell the difference between that and my Cadillac. I don't know about you, but that ain't my Cadillac.
Yeah, but if you zoom in there, then you'll see thousands of molecular machines.
Yeah, but you can't. But you can only zoom in with a cartoon, with an animation.
But
scientists
scientists have succeeded in zooming in with certain technology, but they can't like show it to you with color because it's so small. You can't shoot it with a photon. I think it's almost like so small that you can't see it. You have to use other kinds of methods to see it.
Yeah. There's no doubt that these things are remarkable biochemicals, but they don't quite. What Todd is showing you right here is how it really looks. And when you zoom in a little further, if you zoomed in further and you didn't capture a freeze frame, you would see a bunch of thermodynamically motivated molecules bumping around, slamming into each other, and most of the time bouncing off and missing. And every now and then something would stick, and you'd see the process, but you would not see this caricature, this cartoon that you're saying.
Yeah, if you zoom in enough, you would see something like that. But that's just a animation of what they can't show us like visually. They're just trying to show you with the animation. Even like Darwin draw a tree and everything. That was like animation towards like what the tree of life they were later gonna find. Or you understand?
Yeah, if you watch a Spider-Man movie and you watch him jumping around the buildings, they do that with CGI, and that's computer animation. They're doing exactly the same thing here, except that we're not quite admitting it. There is a reality to cells that is a little bit different than what you're seeing in the Spider-Man movie. But
obviously, but so you don't agree that there's biological machines at the base of life, like small machines like that just show example of what it, but no, it's not like you can't see it.
Machines are too stupid. Machines could never do what a cell does. They're just not. They're too macro. They're too human.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they don't have chemical reacting. So I mean, unless you made one that works with chemical reactions, I guess. It's called batteries. See, we make batteries that do energy. So
thinking in terms of machines and codes and trying to apply human ideas to what's going on in biology is something that, with the extended synthesis and some of the new ideas and information in biology, we are trying to overcome. We're trying to overcome, and we're trying to figure out exactly what this life thing is, because it's pretty damn remarkable. And we have not been able to make it ourselves because we don't know enough about it yet. Because
scientists are trying to crack the code at the base of life.
Well, we're always trying.
They've succeeded a lot, as they have succeeded a lot, because what they do is they take like your programming code, your DNA code, and then they scan your body, and then they take another guy's DNA code and they scan your body, and then they compare that DNA code and see what changes there is in the code and how you look. So then you can start to figure out which part codes for which part. So then you know this part codes for the color of the eyes. So if we change this, your color of your eyes would change when you were a baby, like before you were born.
And the way they do those experiments is very telling. when you look at how we figure out a biochemical pathway, it's nothing like magnifying it and going down there and picking it apart with tweezers and saying, oh, this is how this machine connects to this. We have to use all kinds of tricks in order to figure out what the hell's going on. But it would take computers the size of our planet, I think, to specify what's going on in a cell. So it's kind of a big problem. But I got to bail and I'll let you guys talk. I just wanted to. I just felt compelled to push back on this idea of that it's a precise programming language or a code or a machine, and just consider that for a while. We always want to think about what is the reality of what's really going on, in spite of the fact that we cannot actually see it. We cannot look at this thing, because if we could magnify it enough with a great magnifying microscope, it would be going so fast that we couldn't keep track of it, and that's a problem. So there's something else going on here that's much more complicated. So,
on Seeker a few weeks ago, they were talking about building a new laser that could see chemicals reacting.
Yeah, but you're going to have to slow it down in order to actually see it.
Yeah, they're using fast photons.
We are going to see these cogs and these flagella and things whirling around and all of that. And sometimes it does work in a very precision fashion, but you don't want to make a judgment based on our intuition. You want to try to see into the reality of what's actually going on. But I really got to go see what's happening.
Well, it was very interesting. Thanks for coming. Man.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for coming.
There's something going on in our capital right now, and I want to keep track of it. So anyway, thanks for having me, Top Dog.
Yep, no problem.
Bye.
See you.
That was quite interesting. But I still think scientists are able to at least see some of what's going on in the cell, because that's why they could make those. It's like a DNA. They could see it's a double helix, and we make animations of it, but that's not really how it looks like. But we're just trying to show how DNA twirls around itself. You understand?
Yeah.
So
we
get emulations and stuff.
Yeah, but I still think it's a programming code, because we can program on it. We can store our programming code on it. It has design strategies in it. We can see that it's a 4-digit code. We have a binary code in our computers of 0 and 0, which is a charge and a no charge. Where in DNA there's 4 different chemicals that programs in DNA. So we can change that programming code, and then it gives different commands to the nano machines in the cell. So then we can change your whole body through programming code. I think that's reasonable to conclude that this could point to intelligence. I don't know about what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to head out soon as well. But before I do, I want to ask you, Martin, or sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I want to ask you a question. So you're
Sure.
mentioning the base of life. Do you accept common ancestry?
I don't know. I'm open to evidence for it. I have seen some evidence, but not enough for me. I understand. I don't know. It's so far back that it's quite hard to know what the hell happened there. So far back.
Okay.
But yeah, it could be true. It could be true, but it would still not prove that there's no creator. You understand? A creator can use anything.
Right,
You can use biology or evolution. We say even our cell phones have evolved over the time. It has gone made better, but there's still intelligence involved in that.
Yeah, I would make the difference that I'm not arguing against a creator starting life and then it evolving from there, because that's a definitive fact that evolution happened. What I would argue against is, for instance, some people would go and say that evolution didn't happen, which it doesn't matter if the creator was there or not. Evolution would happen either way.
Yeah, I think microevolution is a definite fact, and I think it's a quite good design, because you want something to adapt. A creator would like something to automatically adapt to its environment, and microevolution is one of the ways to do that. You get these games where they also use a kind of evolution in the game to get different kinds of cats, and then you can sell this cat for like insane amount of money because it's quite unique. I don't know if you have heard of that, but there's some games where you can sell stuff that has gone through an evolution process, and it's quite unique. So then they sell it for like thousands and thousands of dollars. And that the program works on its own after the creator has made it. No one can change the programming code of those cats, and that's why they're so valuable. You can't change it.
So you would disagree with evolution larger than micro variation from what you're saying?
I would just be skeptical of super large evolution. I'm just a little bit skeptical of that, because then you're turning a frog into a prince. You understand? You're making a fairy tale come true, which it could be, but it's just like, you understand, there's so much that has to happen. It would be like a miracle, and I think a creator is not a miracle. While if you get these things,
would you accept speciation as well?
I think there's a lot of species that automatically is created from the programming code. I think there's built-in programming code there that creates more different kinds of animals and stuff. So when you have like two dogs, they will create big, small dogs, and they would change over time. But that doesn't change a dog into a horse or a bacteria into a horse. You understand? That's like quite a leap. I don't know if I don't see something, then perhaps I haven't seen insane good evidence for that.
Well, like one thing I would just point out is the fact that evolution doesn't really say that individuals evolve per se, that it says that populations evolve, and that means that in a sense a bacteria never really gives rise to a horse. It's more like this
it's gradual.
Yeah, it's gradual. And some young Earth creationists would say that I don't know if you specifically, but some creationists would say that a dog does give birth to a cat, and that's evolution, which is all what evolution says. It's evolution of populations. So I just want to make that distinction.
And what's quite interesting as well, if you trace back human population growth, I don't know how they get to these huge numbers, because if you put two people together and you put on a simulation, you would need like a mass extinction, crazy mass extinction every 2,000 years to keep like population super bad down. You would not even wars, even in the World War II, the population exploded. Everything that tries to kill humans makes the population explode. They have more babies. Like in Africa, the mortality is like crazy, and they just have more babies when there's like viruses or stuff. So it doesn't keep population growth down. So I think if you can trace back population growth to the evolution model, then it would be quite good evidence for me. If you can trace that population growth to fit with the millions of years. Understand?
Right.
I haven't seen a good graph of population growth fitting with evolution model.
Right. Well, another thing I would point out is that populations don't necessarily grow exponentially. That you have differential reproductive success, what we would call selection. So, for instance, going to the humans, we only had probably at most a few million individuals on the planet 100,000 years ago, if we were to say 100,000 years ago. And that's because a society, or not really a society, but just like a planet where there's no agriculture whatsoever, can't really sustain a population larger than that. So you kind of have to keep in mind that more and more energy sources are becoming available, and that's what's causing population growth, not necessarily just this individual gives birth to that individual, etc. So I would just point that out.
Yeah, perhaps on an island would work good if you can keep a lot of population on an island so that they can't escape and they can't populate the world. Then it can keep the population intact, because then there's no
Right.
food on that island and everything, and people die the whole time. But
Right.
yeah, you
Yeah,
need like something big to.
Yeah, just think of the entire planet at that point in history as a very large island.
Yeah, I just wish there was like some kind of simulation that could show me population growth fitting with evolution. At the moment, I've tried fitting it to the evolution timeline, but it doesn't fit. Any simulation's hard. You need, I don't know, you need like a lot of killing of humans to keep it intact. What did you want to show you, Top Dog?
The chemical reactor, the lasers from X-rays. I think they're building a new thing.
Sorry. Before you show that, unfortunately, I have to go feed my dogs. So, thanks for having me on, Top Dog, and it was nice chatting to you, Martin.
Thanks for talking to me, man. It was quite interesting talking to you, and it was quite a pleasure to meet you. And now you have to go feed your biological machines. Go do it.
Thanks for coming.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
Okay, cheers.
Okay.
Okay, show it.
Here we go.
This is the world's brightest X-ray laser. At the time of its first flight in 2009, the LINAC coherent light source generated X-ray pulses 1 billion times brighter than anything else around.
The LCLS is a tool unlike anything before it. We're able to deliver this pulses of X-rays in 1/millionth of 1 billionth of a second.
This massive machine allows scientists to take ultra-fast snapshots of the invisible world, imaging molecules and atoms, documenting how they change and evolve over time. But the LCLS maxes out at 120 pulses per second. So to see the ultra-small world like never before, scientists and engineers are building something new.
The LCLS-2 is going to take the free electron laser field up another quantum leap.
This will be unprecedented and will allow for a beam that's 8,000 times brighter than the LCLS beam at this 1,000,000 pulses per second.
Well, if you want to watch the rest, go. I have it in the link or chat.
Okay, cool. Can you show this video? It's like a short 1-minute clip. I'll post it here in private chat. Can you show that short video that I posted? I don't know if you see it.
You have to share
I
screen.
think you would find it interesting. I posted it in a private chat.
Oh, that's what you're
Click
talking
on
about.
it. Yeah.
Oh, private. Okay.
See it.
Yep. Copy.
I think you would find that interesting. It's a biologist explaining some of the biology at the base of life. And super short.
Ben Stein. Okay, let's see what you got. Oops. Oh, it's super quiet though.
Really?
Yep. I have 100%. I have to use my hours of turning up the volume, and I don't know if that's even going to be good enough for the volume that it's at.
Otherwise, it's fine.
Well, it's okay now.
I needed someone who could give me a glimpse into this world. So we went to molecular biologist Doug Axe.
Think of a cell as being a nano factory, a factory where, on a very small scale,
That's the concept
instructions are being used to make the components of the factory.
for help our understanding.
DNA double helix. You can see the 2 helical strands that are intertwined and wind around each other on the outside of the molecule. This is the material that stores all of our genetic information. In higher life forms, this would be the equivalent of something like a gigabyte of information stored in the molecules that form the individual chromosomes all packed within the nucleus, which is a tiny fraction of the entire cell size. So what does DNA do? Well, the information in DNA ends up providing the information for sequencing the amino acids to make proteins. We have information in a one-dimensional form that provides the information for a three-dimensional form.
Oh, that was it.
It's quite interesting. What do you say?
Yeah, amazing how complex nature can be.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's like studying a creator's fingerprints when you study like nature and the world. And I think you can find the creator if you know enough about the creation. You can find some fingerprints. Oh well, that's just my opinion. But you might have a different opinion.
I used to believe that stuff. Until I had more information and then actually understand many variables.
When did you believe in a creator?
Like 8 years ago. That was when I last.
And what made you think there shouldn't be a creator? Or there's no evidence for a creator? Or what made you change your mind?
When I was actually trying to find out if Jesus was real, because instead of just believing a Bible and stuff, I was like, hey, what's if I actually look up if Jesus is real in real life instead of just believing it? Just help other people, you know. If I wanted to really know Jesus and stuff, it would be real life. But that's where the problem lies. It found out that it is based on imagination. So,
but quite a good what I like the most. What do you call it? The best evidence that I like for Jesus to say is that if you look at Muslim testimonies, thousands of them testify to meeting Jesus, and it changed their life, and they realized they were deceived their whole life. But you won't find one testimony of a Muslim or a Christian saying they met Allah or the Muslim God and it changed their life, and they realized they were deceived their whole life. There's like thousands of testimonies. If you can find me one testimony of a Muslim meeting Allah and Allah telling him Christianity is false, become a Muslim, then my theory would break down. But you'll find thousands of testimonies of Muslims on the internet claiming to have come in contact with Christ, and they put their lives on the line, because in Islam they kill you if you leave their religion in some places.
Also, the people that believe in that strongly enough that they kill themselves with the Muslims, idea of killing other people and then getting a reward when they die. So that's where the problem is.
I think Islam is a super satanic religion. Their God, their false God, claims to be the God of the Bible, yet he acts totally differently. He says, kill the Christians, kill the Jews. He hates them. He makes slaves of people. He calls the Muslims his slaves, while the God of the Bible calls people his sons. So it's quite like total opposite of what the Christian God is, and they claim we have the same God. So I think Muslims are totally deceived, blowing themselves up thinking it's God's will to kill Christians. Well, the Bible said they would think it's God's will. People would kill us and think it's the Creator's will. So I've used testimonies.
I posted in chat, if the truth was different than what you currently believe, would you listen and accept it?
Who's that, Jerry? You can join the chat. Sorry, what did you say, Top Talk? If the truth was different than what I believe. What?
Yeah, than you currently believe.
Let's say.
Would you listen or accept it?
Just read it again. Sorry.
If the truth was different than what you currently believe, would you listen and accept it?
Definitely. I hate being deceived. I've seen so many people that are deceived, so I try and make 100% sure that I'm not deceived, because I've seen how devastating effect it can have if you're deceived. So that's why I talk to people like you and trying to get new ideas to make sure that I'm not deceived. You know what I'm saying? I talk to atheists, I talk to Muslims, I talk to flat earthers, I talk to all of them and try and figure out, am I deceived about some stuff?
Yeah, I go to the actual people sources like real life and the science that's actually being done in real life.
Yeah, I do the same. I watch thousands of videos on and debates, people debating about these concepts to figure out if I'm deceived somewhere. You understand? Because being deceived about a creator is probably one of the worst deceptions there is in life. If there's a creator, it changes everything in life. Like being deceived about the flat earth or something like that has almost no consequences, but being deceived about the creator can have internal consequences. Understand?
This is one life that we have, and we're going to waste it talking about a fictional book character in stories as if they were real, and then stopping progress with understanding of actual nature and stuff.
Yeah, if there's no creator, me and you are now wasting our lives, the short time we have on this earth. But I think there is a creator, so I think we're actually doing one of the most important things is to talk about the creator and figure out if there is a creator and who he is and what he's like. I think that's quite important because it changes everything about life if there's creator. The same with a game. If a game has no creator, then anything goes. You can kill everyone on the game, you can rape people, you can lie, you can steal. But if there's a creator, it changes everything in that game. It changes the whole meaning. Everything then has a purpose in the game and stuff.
We already know that there is a creator. It's called nature, but you're talking about intelligent creator.
Yeah, I'm talking about not an AI creator, but the intelligence, like literal, where you can make choices, actual choices, not like robotic choices.
We don't see that in reality, though. Can you describe what you're talking about in real term instead of hypotheticals or
like saying
book characters or whatever?
Like Elon Musk said, like there's like 1 chance in a billion that we're not in a created world. He said that because we have made so many created worlds. The thing is, what's the chances of us not being in a created world? If there's so many created worlds, there's like the super small chance. And even Neil deGrasse Tyson, he agreed with Elon Musk. There's like a super small chance that we are not in a created world, or a simulation. They call it a simulation as well, which is just another form of a created world.
But those are just still opinion, kind of, because we don't have any evidence, that anything more than the nature.
They just use the following logic. They're saying, we know of all these created worlds we have made, and so if there's going to be thousands and thousands of created worlds in the future, what's the chance that someone hasn't figured this stuff out and created a world where we're currently in? And how are we going to figure that out if we're in such a world? What can we look at the base of life and at the base of the universe? Understand? So they use that kind of logic to try and figure out, is there a creator? And they're saying there's a small chance that we are not in a created world. I probably have to read these comments or what. There's a guy there. I wish he could join the chat.
Jerry?
It says games or games. Come on, join. Not real life. Yeah, in games he says in real life there's consequences for actions that harm others. Well, in games as well, if it has a creator, like even Fortnite, when you cheat in Fortnite, they actually sue you in real life. It has consequences. People have been sued and everything when they cheat in Fortnite.
I don't know anything about how do you cheat in Fortnite, but
like there was a child or a young guy or something that cheated in Fortnite and also showed on YouTube and told other people how to cheat in the game. And because the game has creator, So they sued that child, and the poor guy was in a lot of trouble for helping people cheat in the game.
I guess you're talking about they use a program that can bypass the
Jerry says if it's
their stuff where they can cheat it somehow, like JTAGs and stuff.
yeah, this you can cheat in games. You can use your you can change the. I don't know how they do it sometimes, but they try and see what's on the RAM and everything, and bypass some of the systems. Then you can see the people through the map, and then you can kill them easily and know where they are and stuff. So that kind of cheating. And if there's no designer or no creator, then they can do what the hell they want. They can kill each other, cheat, and it won't have consequences.
Or they also the designer could, or the people in control don't care and stuff. Sometimes they can let it happen. If
if a game creator says it's okay, cheat, it's fine, then it becomes fine. But like Hitler, all he did, he killed a lot of people. But if there's no creator, he's not going to have consequences for his action. He's just got a high score or something in a game that has no creator.
But we're emotional humans. We have moral and stuff. We're built up by our culture and stuff. That's why we don't like that stuff, because we are actually alive ourselves. So we know ending our lives or somebody else's life would be bad. So
do you think killing animals is bad, or?
It's hard to with the variables and stuff, like if they're in pain or something, they could, like a dog or something, it's like disease that you can't heal from or something, or a tumor that's hard to explain. It's a thing that you have to do with multiple people, maybe.
Have you killed the animal?
No, I don't know if it's maybe not direct or didn't know about it or something. It's like you hit it in the car, maybe. What?
What do you eat animals?
Oh yeah, we have that too. So it's confusing.
So you indirectly kill animals.
Yeah.
But to the atheists, they see animals as with humans. So you're killing they see it as evil. I don't see it as evil. I think animals don't have a soul, and I think they're not made in the image of the creator, and they're worth less. We have authority over their lives, and taking their life is not doing evil. The same would be true for me taking your life if there was no creator. Just like me taking a lot of people's life in a game is not evil.
People are going to stop you because we have that morality thing that we build up from being a social. Social
people
animal.
Try and stop people. People try.
People do it all the time. So
yeah,
it's
people,
like
anyway down killing street.
hard to really. It's a complicated thing that we as humans together put people away or whatever to stop them from doing harm. Because we got our own understanding of this stuff.
But if you enjoy killing people, you can get paid. You just join an army, and they pay you to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some people enjoy killing, and there would be nothing wrong with people killing each other. Animals kill each other all the time, and they do nothing wrong. And the same would be true for us, I think, if there's no creator. Well, you can say it's evil, and like demons would not be evil. If demons exist and there's no creator, they won't be evil. They can do what the hell they want. They can swear, they can curse, they can do whatever they want. There's nothing keeping them back. No rules. What do you think?
We have evolved this social thing, like I said, the culture and stuff. So we don't, and we know, and we have a brain that understands that life, our own life and stuff. So is precious to ourselves. So would the other person, if it would be the same. So if ending their life, they're no longer having experiences and stuff. So that's not good to our minds. We stop those people that are making those people not have good experiences and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
I
hard to
know
explain.
that. But so you see animals as what about bugs? When you kill a bug, is that evil? When you kill a bug, when you step on it or light the thing on fire.
A little harder because they're small and stuff, and then we never only if you keep it as a pet, and then you try to and somebody else kills your pet bug, wouldn't you if you have your emotional attachment to it and stuff? So of course it's that person going to be like an enemy to you because you killed your a good feeling or something of pet. That's what I mean. That's what they sometimes pets are. It makes us feel good and stuff too. So it's emotional attachments and stuff that really make us ambitious to do things to others or something. It's hard to explain. I have many things I'm thinking about at the same time, so my brain works like that. I multitask like every day.
Girls are good at multitasking, so I'm not so good at multitasking. But I hear girls are super good at multitasking. But anyway, what I wanted to say is I don't think killing bugs are evil. But like you said, if someone owns a bug or a pet and you kill his pet, then you take his property away from him, and that is bad. But if there's no creator, you can kill whatever. I think you can kill anything. Well, people are going to try and stop you, just like in a game, they're going to try and stop you if you do something bad. But in the end, you can get away with many people get away with it. There's no
Animal Kingdom, they get away with it all the time. So it's our human perspective that really is in controlling and things.
Yeah, I don't think animals are doing anything wrong when they like kill each other or eat each other alive and stuff like that. I don't think they have any concept of good and evil. And I think the same would be true for us if there's no creator. People kill each other all the time. It would not be evil in my eyes, at least, if there wasn't creator.
I just said the problem was that we understand and stuff, so we have morals and we have culture and we're brought up and stuff how to act, and we have laws and stuff, and we understand a little bit. I mean, if we know about it, but we still have our own culture and stuff that keep us from doing things in our mind because we're programmed to keep us from. But if you lived in like a place where you're not in culture or something, if you're like feral, everything would be like if you're an animal. So I don't see what you're trying to say. If there's no God, everybody would be immoral, whatever. I just said.
No, I'm just saying, like Hitler would not be held responsible for what he did. He would not like have ultimate justice. He just got away with all you do is you kill a lot of people, have your fun on Earth, and then you kill yourself easily. Then you don't get punished for what you did. You understand? Because there is no punishment then, real punishment.
How long was he killing people though? Say there was no punishment for a long time. Yeah. Say no one punished him at his own area. Why is that?
He only punished himself. He only executed so he doesn't get punishment.
He killed his family and then himself.
Yeah, he killed his wife, married her, and then killed her. And then got away with murdering millions of people. But if there's a creator, he didn't get away. He tried to get away, but he's not gonna get away. But if you believe there is no creator, yes, then he got away with what he did. All the suffering he caused and stuff.
Humans have the moral things, and then we're brought up in culture. So I don't see how that makes any sense. What you're saying that we're going to go free if we do all those horrible things when we already know the reasons why we don't do those things.
There are a lot of countries that don't believe in a creator, and then there's a lot of bad stuff that then happens because there's nothing. I think believing in a creator keeps bad people from doing bad. I have seen it happen, even like in tests. They did like a test. They said to a child, a scientific test, they said to a child, there's someone watching you, a fairy is watching you, and then they watch the child on the camera, and they say the fairy is watching you. If you eat this, then you're not going to get something, or you shouldn't do this. And then that child doesn't do it. But if they said, no, don't do this, but they don't tell her about imaginary fairy or whatever, then the child does it. So scientifically, it has been like proven that I think it keeps people back from doing true evil, killing each other. Or don't you think it could keep someone back if he believes in a creator?
So what you just said was showing that we need to be programmed, basically, to be moral, or not, I guess not moral, but to do certain things or not do certain things. It's not. We have like already built up from living life and stuff, so morality and from observing others and stuff. But that's what culture and stuff. That was in the environment. So.
Yeah, I think we have programming code like that tells you you have programmed into you, telling you what's wrong and what's right, so that people are without excuse. Like Hitler can't, after he's dead, standing before a creator and says he didn't know killing humans or Jews was evil. He has programming code and a conscience to tell him, yes, what he's doing is wrong.
It's more that we evolved because we're social creatures. We evolved the majority of us, I guess, because evolution is not like always going to be everybody. There's mutations and stuff that change how our brains work and stuff and whatever else. So not everybody's going to have those morals and stuff from being born. So they already saw like a part of the brain, but then it's not 100% either. That part of the brain is the moral center or whatever. I mean, it's the processing of stuff, I guess. I don't know. It's confusing because the person that looked up their own brain, because he was like, what? Because the studies that he was doing showing that those people with that missing part of the brain were committing crimes or something.
Yeah,
so
I wish
I
just wish Larry and Jerry could join us in the while we talked. I see Larry said secular countries are known or having less rape and other crimes. Yeah, the thing is, secular countries, they're secular because it goes quite good there. If hell came into that country, you would see the churches and everyone running to God. In the countries that things are going really bad, there's a lot of people that believe in a creator and run to him. So if it goes really good with you, then you probably think you don't need a creator. You understand? So that's quite what happens there. But I'm telling you, in secular countries, there is a lot of evil that would be stopped if they actually believe in a creator that's watching them and gonna punish them or whatever.
Secular countries are usually the more moral people. So. I think that's the studies like Japan.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is they would be even more moral if they believe in a creator, because just like the child would be more moral because he thinks there's something watching him doing evil or doing bad, then he doesn't do it.
That's a certain thing. It's not. It's a little different. It's more complex than that too. I watched it a long time ago where it was a rocking chair that they made move, and they told him that it was somebody in the rocking chair when there was no one for a kid. I mean, and then they made it move with a mechanical thing, and then this kid stopped doing his tracks or something and stopped doing what he was going to do or something.
Yeah, so I really think if when you believed in a creator, don't you think it kept you back from doing evil, or do you think it didn't really play a part in keeping you back from, say, like lying to someone or something? Or what do you think? Could it play a part, like keep you back?
The believing in the God, yeah, it holds you back because you're scared to actually investigate. 'Cause the stories and stuff tell you that if you think a certain way or something, that God doesn't like or something. So it's hard to explain, I guess. That's,
were
trying
you
to think
brought
of
up into
the right word.
believing in God? Were you brought up into believing in God? Why did you believe at the beginning of your life believe in God? What evidence or made you think there's a creator? Or did you just blindly believe there's no creator?
It's complicated too. But I was like 5 years old or something, and my mom sat me down or something and told me something to be a better person or something. There was like a creator or something watching, I guess, or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's been too many years.
So you say
30 years
she
ago.
brainwashed you into believing in a creator? What?
Something like that. Yeah, it does sound. Because I mean, we're young. We don't know much about the reality of the worlds and stuff and the universe. So and her mom's like an authority figure, so it makes it harder to really know what's true when they're already themselves don't know that what they're saying is true, but they say it and they repeat it. And it's complicated. So
you think she deceived you, or?
In a sense, but she's also been deceived herself and still is, actually.
So she's still religious, or?
Yeah.
What does he believe? Is he a Christian or what?
Oh yeah, Christianity. I think I don't know what if she. I just the basic Christianity. I don't think she subscribes to any like Baptist or Protestant or anything like that. Nothing like that. So it's Christianity, and it's what we always just called ourselves. Or
so how long were you a Christian?
Like 20 some years.
20 years, and then you did.
I'm 33 now. So.
I'm 31.
25 and a half. That's 25 and a half when I finally realized the reality a little bit more. And when I was trying to find, I was 25, I think, when I started to investigate if Jesus was real or not. I wanted to make it evident. I have like evidence and stuff from the real world. I wanted to actually find out instead of just believing. That's the thing.
Do you think Jesus is just a myth, or do you think a Jesus character actually existed?
Well, it's just a story so far that we know of, but it could have been a person, a multiple people, and but not as the story says. You make up more than what actually happened and stuff. It's hard to explain if you know like any what is North Korea? The last North Korean guy they said many things I think about him that were not true. You know. I heard people say that they taught everybody that he was like a messiah or something.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of deception going on there. So you say you were deceived for like 20 years into Christianity, and did you debate people about Christianity and tell them it's the truth and try to convince them, or what?
Yep.
You debated many people?
Definitely, yeah. I was really hard on trying to tell them the Bible was true or something. And then all the things that people keep on saying, like DNA or evolution, is God's thing, not a natural process or something.
Did you make videos in those days or not? You just talk to people on the internet or what?
Yeah, talk to people in real life.
I
had friends and stuff
that told you.
That I mean, he was Christian until he was. I guess he watched like what's that? Matt Dillahunty's what's that thing called? Atheist Experience.
Atheist Experience, yeah.
Yeah, he was always. I was always invited him before. I was friends with him before all that. So I was always playing games and stuff with him. And then one day, or over time or something that he started talking about that show and stuff and playing it on while I was in the room and stuff. So
What
we
was
talked
the
about it.
final? What was the final argument or thing that you learned that made you believe that there is no creator, or that the creator or the Bible, or that there is no creator? Is there something that is really strong evidence that convinced you that there is no creator? Or what?
Well, it's multiple things. It took time. I was scared to look up what actual science and stuff to figure out things because I didn't want to know, I guess, because it was something that you're brainwashed to not try to investigate the real life and stuff because you're scared that you get punished or something by God or something for learning new real life things, but you thought it was fake because that's always hard to explain.
Jerry says
You think that all the things that scientists do were fake or something, and so you don't want to learn that stuff to make yourself get deceived or something by science. the idea.
I think there's a lot of opposing theories in science, and I think science has made a lot of mistakes throughout history. But it's quite. I like science though. I think it can give you valuable information and come to valuable conclusions. But I think there's still mistakes sometimes in science. What do you say?
Yeah, that's try and error. But I lost a thought. We are getting more precise. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was trying to say. There you go.
Yeah, but
so
we're still
it gets better and better. Yeah, because we're humans and we're at this macro stage, but we're making better tools to investigate. And if something's wrong in science, you use science to change the science. It's a body of knowledge. If we're getting more precise, that's what I was trying to say.
But one of the massive problems in science is people's huge biases. Like a lot of published science later turns out to be wrong because of people's huge biases in the science. They Q-hack. I don't know if you've heard that, but they Q-hack. I can send you a video of how scientists Q-hack, and then later scientific studies prove those science wrong and realize that a lot of science is wrong. It's quite sad to hear that, but so a lot of scientific studies have later been proven wrong.
How do we do that? Using science.
I can show you perhaps in the future a video about that. There's on Vinitasium, I don't know how to say that name. There's 8 million subscribers, and he loves science, and he has a video on like 80% of published research is wrong and why that is. And one of the real reasons is biases, keeping the truth away from and people paying you. Like say a company pays you and they have a bias of that you have to show that like eating sugar is good because they're selling sugar. So they get you as a scientist and they're paying you to give us information about how good sugar is. You understand? And then they put these scientific studies that is biased and publish that to back up their biases, already biases.
But it'll probably never be part of science. Those are just things that people talk and to make the masses or something think differently. Not part of science.
I wish Jerry and Laurie could join us, then we could talk. I see they're saying a lot of stuff here. The more and more I learn, especially about Christianity, the more and more unlikely it seems. Well, come and tell me those unlikely things, why it seems unlikely to you. I think it's totally likely. So, yeah, come and join us, man. Jerry, come and join us. It's a command. I've never heard any scientist say sugar now is healthy. Yeah, but I was just using an example. I was just using an example that you would understand that sugar is not healthy, but you can get, if you have enough money, you can try and get scientists to back up that sugar is somehow healthy for something. Like, yeah, and then they publish that research that is biased, and people then believe it. There's a lot of studies like that later turn out to be wrong. So it's not a perfect, science is not perfect at the moment.
That's why it's trial and error. Oop,
Yeah.
Here we got Jerry.
Hey, Jerry. Let's see. Hey, can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, his
We
mic's
can't
not
hear
set up. Oh, he's got a.
Jerry's probably gonna
wolf.
scream at me now.
Oh, whoop.
Yeah, not a wolf. Okay, it seems like he's still struggling, but we'd love to have Laurie also in here talking to us. Now we are conspiracy theorists. No. Why is my argument poor? Laurie says my argument is poor. Why? Explain to me.
What argument? What
I
argument
don't
would
know,
do these? Oh, yeah.
I'm just reading their comments, and they're saying my argument is poor. Would like to know which one. Exactly, when things are going bad, people are more desperate in resort to religion. Well, people are more desperate than they run to God. If everything is good in your life, then you don't think you need God. But if some things go bad, then the people run to God for help. That's what happens usually.
Because it's an emotional thing more. That everything good is contributed to a God, but everything bad is contributed to the Satan and stuff. So
if you realize
black and white kind of mentality.
Yeah, but if you realize that a demon exists or demons exist, would you then realize that a creator exists? Because I've seen atheists that realize that demons exist, and then they still don't realize that the creator exists. Like Satanists, they're like atheists in regards to God, but they work with demons. Some of them, full time. Actually,
What I see Satanism is actually they know that it's fake. That's
okay, so you think they know because they say
Most of
they
them, I
can
guess.
see it. They say they can see it and talk to them, and they can work with them. Even Steve said he came in contact with beings that only he thought only he was able to get in contact with. But it seems like a lot of people get in contact with these beings that say they're from another dimension and stuff. But I just think they're demons.
It's just an imagination, like any other fiction.
Could be.
Like Harry Potterism or whatever.
Yeah, but could
people come together to do Harry Potter stuff, and they all talk about it and like if it was real, but they know that it's not. So
Yeah,
it's
I
the
hope
difference.
you're right. I hope demons don't exist, but I have seen lots of evidence though that they do exist. But I hope you're right that they don't. But what I was asking is, say you realize that demons exist, would you then realize there's a creator, or would you still say, okay, that's not? Because I think demons are indirect evidence for a creator. But would you see that as indirect evidence for a creator, or would you not see that as evidence that there must be perhaps a creator?
Can you describe what a demon is in real life?
Like a entity that's from another dimension that hates the creator and hates us, and you can see it's evil, and these alien experiences people have. If they use the name of scientists that studied these experiences, thought that the people that had this experience couldn't be stopped when it started. Well, some people use the name of God, like Jesus, and called out for help, and then the whole experience stopped. So I think those things could be perhaps demons, because why does the whole experience, when you call out for God, then the whole experience stop? I can hear myself again.
Yeah.
Did someone join the chat?
Yeah, they seem like they're not getting their
Sorry
mics
about
to
that.
work right. Oh, there. Okay. You have
Sorry
finally got
about
work. Jerry
Yes,
having a real
David.
problem.
Did I say something wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong, David.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I was playing with my mic and whatnot, and I shut it off, so I had to go back. Yeah, I heard quite a few things that I disagree with. Where would you like to start?
Anyway, you can say what did you disagree with?
Let's see. I'm actually Laurie.
Okay,
Just
David.
so you know. So you were, yes, right. In the chat was my name. So just so you know, just so you clear,
Okay.
just so we're clear. So
Okay.
I mean, any of my comments that I was writing in there, that was
Okay.
Do you know
I
how to
thought it
change your
was a girl.
name, or do you want to keep it as David?
Yeah, that's my.
So I'll
yeah,
call you
that's fine.
David, or should I call
Yeah,
you
that's
Laurie?
yes, yeah, that's who I am. But I'm just saying that's one. The typing in the chat was actually Laurie. Was me.
Okay.
Understand?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I understand now.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
did you say? You was a poor argument. Which poor argument did I use?
Oh my God, you guys, you've been talking about a lot of things. I don't even know where to
What's the
begin,
main?
to be honest.
Where's the main one that bothers you the most? Which argument is the main one that bothers you the most?
Well, we could go to the science thing. I mean, let's see. I mean, science, one of the things Jerry talked about, it's self-correcting. I mean, I would question that 80% of published science is incorrect. I would question that deeply.
Okay, I can send you the link, and perhaps you can...
Yeah, you don't have to do that. I'm not really interested in. I'm not saying that your links aren't.
It's an atheist. What do you call it? Video, and they say.
Okay,
so
that's fine. I mean, I'd rather just have a discussion. You know, that's.
Yeah, that's what this is about.
Okay, but sure, but perhaps I can I'll paste it in somewhere so that people can see it. Here is the video where I got that information from. I just posted it in the private chat. That's where, if that video is wrong, well, it has a 102,000 likes and like 1,000 dislikes, 2.6 or 7 million views, and they explain why most published research is wrong, and why it's biases that keeps people from getting correct information. But so if you can debunk that video, then I would be wrong. I got that information from this video.
Is my audio okay? I haven't been online for quite a while. Yeah,
really good.
Okay,
it's
good. I know a lot of people have been having echo problems and.
Oh, but it's just quiet. So.
Yeah, the last time I was online, we had that problem, and I haven't been online since. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me. So.
Okay, what else was
started happening when you got on, but. It's
yeah, that was my fault because I was fiddling and I didn't close out the YouTube, you know.
Yeah, no, it took me a long time to figure out all the stuff.
YouTube's
I don't think I ever had an echo too bad. Hopefully, when I actually did recording. So.
Yeah, I don't do this that often, so it's you always forget when you're jumping around. Well, when I screwed up my mic, then I had to go back and fix it. But
Jerry,
anyway,
come join us, man.
So anyway, back to the science thing. I'm trying to, as far as refuting the video, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
Would you agree that science has made mistakes in the past?
Absolutely. I would agree that. I would agree with that. But
okay, so you don't agree with that video that shows evidence that most published research is wrong and why it's wrong, and the problems that they have in science and how they're trying to correct the problem that people have biases, scientists have biases, and it's keeping the data back from being perfectly correct. They're Q hacking. They're calling it Q hacking.
All right, let me respond to that. Absolutely. All scientists are biased. I mean, it's extremely difficult. Everybody has a bias, exactly. But I would definitely have to do far more research than just your video when it comes to 80% of published papers being incorrect. I mean, I find that hard to believe.
Well, it's a published paper.
I mean, I would have to research that in order to. I mean, you just can't go by one resource or one thing. I'd have to check on that. What I'm saying is, I'm questioning that.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
would
Yeah,
have to
should
research that. I haven't researched it, so I couldn't tell you. But in my opinion, I would question that. That seems like way too high, 80%.
Would you be shocked if that was true?
I would be, yes.
So then watch that video and see if you're shocked a little bit, because that guy provides the sources, the scientific studies that did studies about how much of research is wrong and why it's wrong, and what's keeping people back from doing good scientific work.
His study could be wrong too.
Obviously,
Correct?
that one can also be wrong, because it's like you said, science
I mean,
makes mistakes.
Right, exactly. So his studies, I mean, studies have been known to be wrong. Studies are, you know, are questionable, certainly the way they are done. You know, you could do a study a totally different way and come up with a completely different outcome. So I'm just saying that's, you know, I think you're conflating things. You know, I really think that based on what I've been listening to for the past half an hour, 45 minutes, you seem like you got a real bias on your hands. I think that, you know, you just have that in your head that there's a creator, and you are looking to verify that instead of looking for what is actually true and what does science say, and doing really your own type of research. Yeah, I think you're allowing your bias to get a hold of you a little too much.
Yeah, I try and be aware of my biases, because I've seen how biases can keep people away from the truth. That's why I try and be aware of them and try and talk to people like you that tell me, okay, this doesn't fit, this doesn't seem right, so that I can challenge my beliefs, because I've seen how people are deceived and I don't want to be deceived. You understand?
Yeah.
And I think there are people that want to deceive people, so you have to be aware of that as well. So that's why I always try and talk to other people with different perspectives. But what else do you think I got wrong, or where I made a mistake or something?
Well, I totally disagree with the intelligent design argument. I mean, I think that's just an argument of ignorance. I mean, it looks just so complicated that it has to be an intelligent agent. I think that's what the whole argument is. I mean, I think
no, it's not complicated. It's like I can hear myself double talk. Someone is echoing, but anyway, it's not an argument of ignorance. It's an argument from what we do know, and we do know that programming code can always be traced back to an intelligence. We have never seen an example where programming code comes into existence without an initial input of intelligence. If you can show me a place where programming code comes into existence without an initial input of intelligence, then my argument would fall flat. Just like if you can show me where gravity stops working, then the gravity law would fall flat.
We have all life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the human body, prove to me that was intelligently designed. I mean, what do you consider not intelligently designed? Can you tell me what are the things that you consider not intelligently designed?
I think if we were like super simple, like 1-digit code, or like something, I don't know, you have like a very simple thing that happens, like you can see it happen on its own, come out of nothing, then it would show some a lack of intelligence, that there's probably not an intelligence that. But if you see a lot of code, a lot of design strategies in the code, I think that points to intelligence. I think that points definitely to intelligence playing a part in that. I don't know why you think that intelligence can't play a part in programming code, or what?
Look at the last thing I wrote in the live chat. Life and the universe is so complex because it is unintelligent. Natural processes. Designs are relatively simple in comparison.
Okay, look. If you have super intelligent we're gonna be super intelligent in the future because of all our computers and everything. And when we're gonna design life, we're gonna make it super complex when we have enough intelligence. It's gonna be crazy in complex, and we're gonna make our own worlds, and we're gonna design our own human bodies. So if I want blue eyes, I want children with blue eyes or with stronger arms in everything. Then I just program that into their code before they're born, and then it goes on automatically and builds that body stronger with blue eyes. Understand?
Isn't that called epigenetics?
I think that, yeah, something like that. I think it's called genetic engineering or something, where you
Designer babies and all that.
Yeah, where you design stuff. So we're playing God in that stage.
You mean playing nature?
I think playing God. Playing nature.
You consider God nature, but you think it's supernatural and it has a mind. That's the problem.
I don't think a creator is supernatural. I think a creator is totally natural. Like in a game, it's totally natural that there is a creator. It's totally natural that you had a father. It's not like a supernatural that you had a father that you came from, and then also a cosmic father with the flipping whole galaxy and everything. I think it has hallmarks of design.
If it's totally natural, then you should be able to show it. Could you show that?
If you can see programming code coming out of nowhere into existence,
that's not answering the question. That's not what I asked. What does that have to do with? You said it's totally natural, so you should be able to show that, and then you just jump over to code.
Oh, sorry. No,
what is code?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. On my first language is another language. So sorry, my first language is Afrikaans, not English. I wish it was English.
Okay.
But why I say a creator is natural is because we see creators making things all the time, all over the place. Everything you touch at the moment is probably going to have a creator around you. You can always trace that back to some kind of creator. So it's totally natural to see things that have design in it and then trace it back to a creator. So seeing something pop into existence without a creator is like supernatural to me. So
okay, so a tree just naturally comes. There's no creator there.
No, it doesn't pop out of.
Mutations are new.
A tree doesn't pop out of nowhere from nothing, you understand? They say that scientists have discovered that the universe came out of absolutely nothing. There was no time, no nothing. Just like our games come out of nothing, there's no time before that, before the game starts. And the creator is outside the time of the created world, like the simulation or the game. So they found that our world came out of nothing. And that would be a miracle if it wasn't for a creator. A creator is totally natural to make something out of nothing.
Nobody said that it came out of nothing. Where are you getting that from?
All the high-ranking scientists and even atheists say that it comes out of nothing.
You have not studied very well, and atheists don't say that.
Lawrence Krauss, I can show you.
It should be rational human beings instead of calling them atheists. It's better to call people rational human beings when they're rational.
No, but I'm just calling them atheists so that you know it's not theists that's saying these things. It's actually atheist leaders that's saying that the universe came out of nothing.
Lawrence
it's more
Krauss
the rational
made the argument that it's plausible. He didn't say it did happen that way.
I can show you a video where he says everything comes out of nothing. The whole universe comes out of nothing, and he even says that anything can come out of nothing.
But nothing doesn't mean nothing in our understanding of normal lingo. That since it's not your first language, it's probably hard to.
You're misinterpreting it. You're misinterpreting it.
Nothing. He soups up nothing. I think his nothing doesn't sound like nothing. I don't know. He's like I can show you a video where he tries to explain how this nothing can.
I've watched Lawrence Krauss many times.
Okay.
You don't have to show me his video, and I don't interpret it that way. And that's not what he's
How do you interpret
really
it?
saying. He's talking about it's a plausibility because of quantum fluctuations. That's what he's talking about, a quantum vacuum, that quantum particles pop in and out of existence, from nothing. So that's a known fact. So that's what he's talking about. So there could have been some sort of a mechanism or some sort of a situation, prior to the Big Bang, that happened that we're not aware of, that there's some sort of a situation that was created like that. So he's not saying that it was created from nothing.
But do you believe in the Big Bang?
I'm confident that that's what science, believing in the Big Bang, it's not really like that. I'm confident in our scientific discoveries, yes.
But the Big Bang, I think, says that it was like a super small point, and no space and no time and everything, and then the whole universe came from this super small point and expanded. So there's no space and no time.
That's where our knowledge stops. We don't know anything beyond that. So, yes.
So do you think it's possible that the creator could play a part in that, or is it impossible for you?
Anything is possible. It's whether it's plausible or not. Exactly.
But so what would you have to see at the beginning of a universe to say, okay, this probably is a created universe by intelligence?
What would I have to see?
Yeah, what would you have to, how would you realize, say we are on a created universe?
That would be
how
up
would
to
you
science.
try and figure out?
I wouldn't know that. How the hell would I know that? That would be up to science to be able to verify that. I wouldn't know.
Well, do you know that many scientists, many Nobel Prize winners, all of them are atheists. Most of them are all not atheists, theists. Like all the greatest scientists of the past were all.
That's not
theists.
true.
Yes, Isaac Newton.
Boy,
Isaac Newton was a theist.
you have definitely got.
I can show you it. I'm not lying to you.
Okay.
Isaac Newton. You know Isaac Newton?
You're just giving all the typical theist.
No.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Why,
that is absolutely not true.
Okay. Should I show it to you? Do you know Isaac Newton?
No, you don't need to show it to me.
Okay, but Isaac Newton, you know him?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, well, he was a theist, and he wrote a lot more about theist than even science, theism. So he's just one of the great scientists of the past, and there's many. He even said that there's not many science.
What does that have to do with anything? I mean,
no, I'm just showing you. That
back then, when Isaac Newton was alive, there was a lot of Christians on the planet.
Yeah.
And if you weren't a Christian, you were persecuted. So that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that all the greatest scientists of the past, you can go and look, all of them are Christian. And
that is
many
not true. You can believe that if you wish, but that is absolutely not factually true.
And type in the internet how many scientists are theists that get the prize. What do you call it? Can't remember the name. Prize of honor, or when you do something great.
Nobel Prize.
Yeah, the Nobel Prize. Sorry, man. Most of the Nobel Prize winners are all theists. If you can go check that.
If you look at how many Nobel Prize winning physicists there are alive today, a huge amount of them are atheists. So you should look at that data.
Yeah, I've seen atheists, but I've seen a lot of theists, and I've seen that even hardcore atheists. I've seen some of them, like before Richard Dawkins and stuff. There was Anthony Flew. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was like one of the leading atheists at that time. And when he saw the new discoveries in science, where they've discovered the programming code at the base of life and stuff like that, then he realized he's probably wrong. and so he changed his stance from a lifelong atheism to a theist. And so he also discusses that you can go
Okay,
and...
what does that have to do with anything?
No, I'm just saying he did it because of evidence. The evidence he saw in science that
And
were
lots of
recent
people do
discoveries.
that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
lots
just
of
saying.
people change their minds. I mean, that just
But it's quite
that
hard to
doesn't
change your
that
mind like
doesn't give Christianity any validity.
Yeah, he didn't become a Christian. He was a theist.
We don't know what's going on in their life personally either, so things not just what the science and stuff. They just don't. It's not just believing or anything. It's understanding science.
Yeah,
and then they don't. And theists don't put their theist ideas into the science usually. So.
But the thing is, his arguments fell flat. All the arguments he used in the past, like he used the argument that the universe has always existed, because if that was true, then it would be one of the best arguments against a creator, because a universe that has always existed doesn't need a creator. But something that pops into existence needs a cause, some kind of cause. It can't just cause itself or come out of nothing.
What I see is that energy comes from motion, is motion basically, and it's so that's we don't know what's happening in the cosmos that's causing this existence of motion, which is the quantum vacuum thing, and then particles coming in and out, and whatever. We don't know how the universe and stuff is made by that either exactly, because it's just ideas so far, the hypothesis.
Yeah, I think the best evidence ever would against the creator would be an eternal universe, because then you don't need a creator. Then it's actually solid proof that the universe doesn't have
but we don't
creator.
know. No human being knows that. Science
Yeah, I
has
know.
not answered that, and neither of you.
No, science
So
said that the
you're
universe
just
had a beginning. I
choosing.
can show you. No, I'm not choosing. Science has said that. That's why the Big Bang is there. It had a beginning.
You don't have a full understanding of what science says. Truly,
I've watched many
you've watched many videos, and that's where you're getting your information. And you're not doing proper research. And
Okay,
so
but debunk
I
one of my
suggest that you
videos.
stop watching so many videos and maybe do a little better studying, and you may change your mind.
I watch like Nova and stuff, like the real life things by the actual scientists, so it's not.
Yeah, I also watch that
It's
stuff.
better than having papers and stuff that people can word their own wording and stuff that we don't, and we have our own biases of what the words mean, so we might misunderstand their point of view, and so it's better
Yeah,
to
I
actually
agree.
see the real life, like
Yeah,
seeing
I
the
agree.
science that's actually done. So here now.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I watch a lot of scientific debates, and also how scientists do their science, and they show it on the screen, what they found and stuff like that. That's quite interesting to me. I don't like reading a scientific paper and then getting, like you said, some kind of wrong idea because of the words being interpreted differently. I would rather have the scientist tell me himself what he found. So I agree
And
with you.
I also watch a lot of fun stuff that people put together. Like you were talking about Sir Isaac Newton and stuff. And here's the epic battle that they did. They're the people that made the epic battle.
Yes, sir. Isaac Newton!
So that's, you have to watch it for yourself.
Okay.
The rest of it.
Paste it somewhere so I can watch it. You like
Yeah.
finding videos or what?
Yep, I watch everything, so I can see the difference between what's real and not, too.
Do you watch at double speed some of the stuff? Or do you
No, I watch
it at
everything
normal speed?
normally.
They talk too slow sometimes for me, and then I watch it at double speed because it just gets too slow. And then when you get used to double speed, then later when someone is talking at one speed, then it's like, please talk, be more intelligent and talk faster on a video.
Well,
So it saves a lot of time, man.
I usually skip through using the arrow keys, so it's like every 5 seconds. I go real
You should
fast
try
through
that.
it.
You should get try one time the
I've done it.
the ability. And does it work, or can't you hear so good?
I'd rather keep it normal speed.
Not try a little bit higher. Like I have a program that can take it above to 3, and that's how I am able to get so much. I try and get a lot of information while watching a lot of debates. Even that Cell and Matt debate, I watched at like 2.6 speed or 2 speed. It saves a lot of time.
Yeah, I guess.
Should
But
try.
I spent all that time so it can process it, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
If you want to read the chat, then it's useful to be at 1 speed if you want to read that chat. Otherwise, it's too fast. But I save so much time. Anyway, David, what did you
Martin,
want to say?
it sounds like you're YouTube educated. Where did you get your education?
I studied at a university in Stellenbosch. I studied industrial engineering. I did a lot of programming and worked with machines and everything. And then I later in life, I saw scientists finding the same kind of things that I work with at the base of life, like programming code and machines and everything. And then I just saw it. That's why it's the most interesting evidence for creator for me, because I've worked with stuff like that and I see how much intelligence it requires. So to tell me that those things do not require intelligence is just super far-fetched to me. Like it's like
that's why you're an intelligent design. I can see why, because of your background. Yeah, I can see why.
I just wish I was first language of English, sorry, because then I would be a lot better trying to communicate and convey these ideas to you and say it in a better way. Like Dr. Craig, if he was first language Afrikaans, he wouldn't sound so great as he currently does. Understand?
Yeah, you sound like you do pretty well
language.
with the English language. You sound like you do it very well.
Yeah, I still struggle
Think you
a little
struggle
bit.
with it?
I
you think
struggle
so?
so much. Like I want to tell you something, and then I have to think what word should I use to explain this to you, and it's hard because I'm not used to it.
I can certainly understand that for sure.
Is English your first language? Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
And you don't know other languages? Oh.
No, I haven't done other languages. No.
No, you know no other language, only English.
That's correct. Yeah, that's why I can only imagine how difficult it is for you.
Yeah. So I'm sorry if I didn't say something perfectly to you. I'm just trying my best to help you guys.
No, I mean you seem to do pretty well at conveying your ideas, but I just they're just typical theist arguments that I think are pretty weak.
What would be a strong argument to you? What kind of argument?
There wouldn't be, because I don't believe in a God. So
yeah, but we make a theoretical exercise and say we're in a game, me and you, and we don't know we're in a game.
Okay,
what would be a good argument from me to you, saying, okay, yeah, I see programming code in the game, and wouldn't that tell you, okay, perhaps there must be a creator behind this programming code?
Well, you're using a bad analogy, because you're talking about a game, and a game is obviously created by a human being. So that's just a poor analogy. I mean, so are you asking me what would it take for me to believe in God? Is that the question you're trying to ask?
Not a God, just a creator.
Just a creator.
Yeah.
I don't
Intelligent
know.
creator.
I mean, an intelligent creator would be a person. So, I mean, it would be a human being. So you're either talking about a human being or a God. So I don't know.
Well, other life,
how to answer that.
Can create things too, but.
Because I want some kind of method for us to figure out if we are in a created world or not. Like, if we say we find some, or we make a theoretical exercise and say we find ourselves in a game without knowing it, and how would you and me and Top Dog figure it out if we are in the game? What would we look at and say, okay, this probably has a creator? Or would we just say, oh, we don't know, we'll never know?
If you were truly in a game, you wouldn't be able to figure it out, correct? If you were truly actually in a game, the designer would have to
figure it out.
Let me finish. The designer would have to actually put something in there for you to be able to figure it out, or design it so you can figure it out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's not there, and you're actually in a game, you wouldn't be able to figure it out.
Okay, so would it be a good argument? Say I was in a game with you and I told you, like, look at these machines and look at these code that has design strategies, and wouldn't that be like perhaps good evidence that we're probably in a created that has a creator, intelligent creator? Or
that is good. That is absolutely good evidence, because the analogy you are using is a created game. Nature in reality. Listen. Let me finish. Nature in reality is not a game. It's nature in reality. So
how do you know it's not a game? How do you know?
I couldn't prove that to you. So
the farthest we can know is I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the thing. I want to try and figure out with you guys how we could figure this out. Say we were in a created or matrix. How would we go about trying to figure out if we are in a kind of matrix or something, and how to know who the creator was? There must be some kind of way to figure it out. Or do you think there's no kind of...
I leave that up to the physicists and the scientists. They're pretty smart people. So, I mean, there's no question they're trying to answer those types of questions, I would assume, trying to figure everything out. So if there's evidence and there's something out there and there's a way for us to figure it out, I have the utmost confidence in our scientific community that if it can be found, we'll find it.
Okay, so if scientists say, okay, we found a lot of evidence for creator, would you then accept it or be super skeptical at it, or what do you think?
That would depend. I mean, if you're only talking about one scientist, I mean, if that was something that's been studied for, 20 years or 50 years, and it's been confirmed multiple different ways and different experiments and proved to be reality, then yes, of course I would accept it. But you're just throwing out these little tidbits, and if if some scientist said, "Oh, there's evidence," that's what you're doing.
No, I'm just
you have yourself convinced by this tiny little bit of evidence, and
no. I'm just giving theoretical cases to understand how you would react, so I can know you better, understand how.
You know what I think you're trying to do? What? I think you're trying to improve your argument towards with atheists is what you're trying to do. I think that's really is that what you're really looking for?
I'm trying to understand you guys
your
better.
Arguments? No, I think you're trying to improve your arguments.
I'm really trying to understand you guys better, and that's why I use theoretical cases to understand what would you guys accept, and what would you think is good evidence and stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like you're actually curious. So
yeah, I love learning new things, and when I debate with people, I always learn new things. So tonight, I think I also learned new things and learned new people and stuff. So it's always very interesting talking to people with opposing views, and I always learn from it, and it's fun.
How much time? Sorry, go ahead.
One more, so you can do your thing. David, you can say your thing first.
Okay. My question was, how long have you been communicating online, on YouTube with other atheists? Have you done that a lot? Or?
Yeah, I've done it quite a while. I talk with flat earthers. I've talked with Muslims a lot. I talk with people with opposing views to myself, so that I can make sure that I'm not deceived, because I really badly don't want to be deceived. So yeah, I'm open to any evidence, and I love figuring out new things. It's quite interesting. Like he's gonna show. I think I've already saw this video that he's gonna show.
Oh, okay. If you already seen it,
No, you can show it. Wait. Perhaps I'm wrong. Isn't that? It almost looks like Kierkegaard, or what do you call it?
Yep, it's a.
It's
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah, in a nutshell. But yeah, what is intelligence? Where does it begin? I'll watch that again. You can post it, and then I'll watch it again. They also had a interesting video about intelligent. What do you call it? I don't know if it's that one, but there was like they were looking at intelligent societies, and they ranked them like virtually. Like say there's a society that can harness the galaxy's energy, and then they call it like a level 2 society, and then you go up to
that's another YouTube. Sounds like another YouTube education.
Yeah, that's quite good.
That was a scientist that was just making ideas. Or no, it was Carl Sagan, maybe. Yeah, that was a Carl Sagan thing.
Was he the original one? I think it was Kaku. There was one. It was the guy that used to use that. You know,
I copied it from Carl Sagan.
Yeah, maybe he was the original one. I don't know. And
the Cosmos.
Okay, what's this video?
Oh, to help think about what the Christians and their own what they all talked about to each other and stuff. It's dark matter ideas and stuff. What people say.
I've watched a lot of dark matter videos, but some of his videos are actually good arguments, but some I don't know, not the best. But you can send me that video. I would watch it.
Yep, it's everybody can watch it if they want to watch the rest.
Yeah. That argument. Is like the science. There's opposing views in science as well. That doesn't mean that the world doesn't exist. You understand? There's opposing views about the world and different theories about the world. Just because there's opposing views about the world doesn't mean the world doesn't exist. Understand? Or what?
Sounded like a lot of your arguments there.
No.
I mean, that was one of the things that you talked about earlier was you were talking about Hitler and those things. I kind of disagree with that.
What the guy was saying in that video was trying to convey is that people have so many different views about God, so thus God he doesn't exist. But that's like he was trying to convey that through all those people having different views. But that's like saying the world doesn't exist because there's opposing views, like flat earthers. If the world existed, then we wouldn't have flat earthers that believe the world is flat. Thus, the world doesn't exist. It's the same flawed argument to say that a creator doesn't exist just because people have opposing theories about the creator. Understand?
It's not that it doesn't exist, it's that we have no evidence to suggest. I mean, everybody's making up their own version of it, which is imagination. But science is precision and based on reality, and not what other people say or what a book says.
Yeah, see, but the flat earthers would also tell me that they have no evidence that the world is round or oval or whatever you call it. They also would tell me, no, they have seen no evidence, and when you provide them with evidence, they make excuses for that evidence. Like they would say, oh, that is photoshopped, or that's just a video, or you understand, that the NASA just took that video and edited it, and thus it doesn't show the real Earth and stuff like that.
Well, you can't help those people, I guess. They're too deceived for too long that their brain is fixed on making themselves believe it. Because that's what happens with some brains. It's not always perfect. Our understanding is based on our how our brains work and our environment. So, and if you're always constantly being told or misunderstanding things, you get stronger in that position. But with science, you have actual reality too, based on tools of science and observations. So totally different.
I love science because I think it's like studying, like I said, it's studying God's fingerprints. That's why a lot of scientific places you can see, or universities, you can see like they use like a saying there that says like something about that there's a creator and he wants us to figure out. He has given us a mind and didn't intend us not to use it, to figure out how this world functions and see his fingerprints in it. Like when you figure out all the all the gravitational constants and everything like that, you're figuring out how the world works, how it functions, like figuring out how a computer functions and studying that fingerprints. I don't know what you would say about that.
Where did you get the idea about God in the first place? It didn't come from reality, did it?
I always thought there was a creator, but I wasn't 100% sure. But now I'm more sure than when I was young. I always thought that all religions were just calling the creator a different name and worshiping the same creator or following the same creator, but it doesn't look like that, because like the Muslims are claiming they're following the same creator, but their creator, they follow calls for our death. Christians, they're cutting Christians' heads off.
There's your bias rearing its ugly head there. You claim right there that you always believed there was a creator, and you've searched to verify that belief.
Yeah.
And
No.
you know, and that's just basically what you just said.
I've searched for the truth, and I think I found the creator at the end, and that's why. But I still talk to people to figure out if I'm still deceived about something, because I think we all have been deceived in some places in life, and I think being deceived about the creator is like the biggest deception there is in the world. If you're wrong about the creator, it has massive consequences. Can have massive consequences.
There's your problem there too. It's the carrot and the stick thing. It's you're afraid of the consequences, and have you really truly searched for evidence that that there isn't a creator, or that the natural world is operates the way it does naturally?
Sure, I have looked for evidence. That's why I asked atheists if they can provide me with programming code coming from non-intelligence from scratch. Then I would 100% say my theory falls flat. My argument for creator.
Programming code is made by a human. That's created by humans. So you're sitting here asking if you can show me a program, a code that's not created by a intelligent design. I can tell you, it would be called, biology, DNA. I mean, that's it's an analogy with computer code. It performs like code because it stores information and it reacts that way, but it's not a computer code, and you're equivocating it that way, and it's just not that. That's just not the way it is. That's not reality.
It's human concepts to make it a better understanding.
You can join again. Someone joined.
Exactly.
You can join again.
They didn't talk, or unless we talked too long, that they got mad or something. I don't know.
Okay, but Richard Dawkins said the machine code of genes is uncannily computer-like. Apart from differences in jargon, the pages of a molecular biology journal might be interchanged with those of a computer engineering journal. That's what Richard Dawkins said. That's how crazy biology is becoming. It's becoming so much computer-like.
Human beings mimic nature all the time. Just because we mimic nature and act in that way and we analyze things and conceptualize things like that, like things that we create, that doesn't make it, doesn't turn DNA into a computer code. It's just the way we understand it.
But do you see it as a code, or what do you see it as?
I'm not a biologist, so I couldn't tell you.
You see it as a code, but it's just a different type of understanding on it. It's just the part of the description of code that we give. It has, like, virus is not life, but it has descriptions of life. So
yeah, I think
humans
thing. I think I think we're gonna, in the future, scientists are gonna use DNA and make computers out of it, like biological computers. I think they're already succeeding in some of it, and it can actually give you then answers to questions and stuff, or not like answers, but like function like a program, function like a CPU, function like our computers, and they're already designing that. And it's quite interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It was in a few channels I've seen where they discuss this future where they're going to make computers out of DNA and out of cells.
I think what you're describing is another perfect example of us mimicking nature. And that's how we operate.
From nature,
because that's
or copying
right, exactly. So, I think you're using a perfect example of that. That doesn't make it a computer code. I think it performs like one, but that doesn't make it a computer code. That's the way I see it.
David, do you think you have free will, or do you think it's an illusion to have free will? David?
I believe I have to operate as though I have free will because I don't have a choice. But
so you were forced.
Free will could actually be an illusion based on physics. We can determine every particle on where it's going to go and what it's going to do, and so technically, reality, you can almost say that it's determined. But the world we live in is so complicated and moving so fast and doing different things that you have to perform. You have to live your life as though you have free will, because you do.
And the other meaning of free will would be many choices. So that's why, but we don't only can decide based on our brain and our environment and programming. So that's why it's an illusion. So it's just many choices, but based on.
That's right. Too many choices. Too many things going on all at the same time. Exactly. So you seem to be laughing. What do you find funny about that?
No, it just sounds funny, but people, I think I have choices, but you say it's an illusion, but I think I'm not what do you call it? I'm forced to make a choice, but my heartbeat and stuff like that, there I'm forced. I don't have a choice there. Like my heart beats now at a pace that I can't say, okay, stop beating right now. It just does it automatically. I don't have free will in that part.
And I forgot to say that we don't choose our choices either. We decide based on our mind. That's what I was meant to say. Clearly. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah.
Top Dog, do you think you were forced into believing in a creator and forced out of believing in a creator? You had no free will in those choices, or do you think you had free will?
It takes a lot of processes and stuff, and going through environments and the way I perceive things and stuff. So it's
I see you on the show
at real life. Oh yeah, it's a video game. Since you're talking about video games, it's a video game called Everything. I played it a few times just to test it out. I have it.
Does it work?
And here's a trailer of it, of some of the PlayStation trailer.
Which everybody should understand. is that every creature in the universe that is in any way sensitive and in any manner of speaking conscious regards itself as a human being.
It's weird.
It knows and is aware of a hierarchy of beings above it and a hierarchy of beings below it. That is to say that wherever you are and whoever you are and whatever you are, you're in the middle. That's the game.
That's what fine-tuning is. You're in the middle of something, I guess.
Your senses extend a certain direction, in all directions, and therefore give you the impression of being in the middle. Because the definition of a person is where you look from. Now, everything in the world feels like that. And also it has its own kind. You see spiders and hydras and sea urchins and so on don't look very natural to us. We say, well, I wouldn't want to look like that. But they say when they see us, well, what kind of an awful thing is that? And what a lot of nonsense it does.
Now, we come here right at the start to an extremely important principle, which
That
is
was one of the other things you guys talked about earlier was, you know, the hierarchy that you were talking about.
magnification. That is to say, you can look at something with a microscope and see it a certain way. You can look at it with the naked eye and see it in a certain way. You look at it with a telescope and you see it in another way. Now, which level of magnification is the correct one?
This is a cool video,
Well,
actually.
obviously,
Looks like
they're
one.
all.
In the video game, you play too.
View. When we examine our bloodstreams under a microscope, we see there's one hell of a fight going on.
Many different
All
ways to play it.
sorts of
I
microorganisms
think it's Steam and Epic Games.
And if we got overly fascinated with our view of our own bloodstreams in the microscope, we should start taking sides, which would be fatal, because the health of our organism depends on the continuance of this battle. What is, in other words, conflict at one level of magnification is harmony at a higher level. Now, could it possibly be, therefore, that we, with all our problems, conflicts, neuroses, sicknesses, political outrages, wars, tortures, and everything that goes on in human life, are a state of conflict, which can be seen in a larger perspective as a situation of harmony? Every minute little fruit fly or gnat or bacterium, I will go so far as to say, is an event upon which this whole cosmos depends. This thing goes both ways. It's not only that every little organism which exists
Is that a DNA
depends on its
split?
total environment. The reverse is also true, that the total environment depends on each and every one of those little organisms. So that you could say this universe consists of
I love
an
creative worlds. I think in the future it's going to be so realistic that you can't realize the difference between this
is
world and the
essential.
created world.
We have VR stuff.
We screen
Yeah,
that
it's going to be
idea
super
out of our
realistic.
consciousness, just as we pay attention to the figure and ignore the
We
background.
got ray tracing graphic cards now, PlayStation
So,
5 stuff.
We see one way of looking at things, mainly that the organism is very frail against the environment. It lasts a long time, the environment, but the organism only lasts a short time. But actually, the whole thing is arranged in a polar system, where the enormous depends on the tiny, and the tiny depends on the enormous.
Now zooming out. And make the whole island grow.
That's a lot of programming and design that.
And it stays there a while, it goes through a development, and then it drops off.
You sure God didn't do that?
But all the time,
Well,
everywhere, there are other
a
eyes.
creator did that, so you can
Whether
say
they
it's a
be
god
human, animal,
of that
anything you
world.
like. To be in other
Because
galaxies.
usually
etc.
nature
All
is the god,
starting up.
but it's not intelligent and
We would say
it's
there is
not
no
supernatural.
connection
So.
between them. No,
But,
in the same way, there is no connection between the
Yeah, this
molecules.
I love this video. It's
Yet you
quite
say it
interesting
isn't.
how they zoom out and how they zoom through the universe. It's quite
But if you
awesome.
look at it under a powerful enough
Yep.
microscope, the The molecules.
let,
in
let
your
me
hand
ask
are
you. You said
miles
your native language is what?
between this galaxy and other
Afrikaans.
Well, we can't see any connection.
It's
African?
like Afrikaans.
Whereby they
Afrikaans.
respond to each other. and
Afrikaans.
move in certain electrical
Which is from
It's a
where?
South African language.
South
what we're
African
doing
language?
is
Yeah, we have
not
multiple
writing down
languages
the
there.
doctrine, but
Okay.
it is doing an
And
exercise of perception.
Afrikaans is a
You can
mixed
see it
language.
either way. You
of
can see
a few
yourself
languages.
as existing
Messed up
only
language.
now. That's the
A
only you
mixed
there is.
language of what?
Of
alternative
Dutch and German and English and
is to see
a
yourself
lot of
as
things mixed together. And yeah, so it's it's a little bit of
when you get a game
messed up
going
language.
this time.
In
There
what
comes the
country
point
do you live
what
in?
might call emotional
I live
investment.
in South Africa, at the point of Africa, like
When you
Cape Town,
feel
close to Cape Town.
that the
I'm
outcome
at the
of
Yep.
this
point of Africa, and you guys are in America, right?
There's a lot of English there, though.
this matters.
Yeah, but still, I don't speak.
It's up to
Most
you
of the
what
time,
you
I don't speak English. I speak only with like people from overseas with English, and I don't speak so many times English directly. I really usually write to them. But if I was first language, it would have helped me so much. It would have helped me so much.
And in a way, every
That's why
being
I wish actually there was just one language in the world,
going
because
on.
then people wouldn't waste their lives on different languages figuring it out.
we
It would
feel
save a lot
that's
of people's
the basis of our
time.
distinction between work and play.
They say that you're smarter when you know more languages.
But they must go back
Perhaps.
to work.
Hopefully in the future languages die and there's this one language, one easy, good, logical language.
When you see you have this terrifying,
That's what English is trying to do, I think. It took over the world.
you must. This is
I think that's good. To
But
take
it's the
over
most
the world.
complicated because it's based on other, all together, like the mixture of a whole bunch of different languages, some of the English languages.
But they say English is not the most complicated language there is. There's complicated languages. I think
One of
also
the
this. Yeah, I've talked to a person that works with a lot of languages, and they said one of the easiest languages is perhaps, I don't know.
all the old fights.
One of the good languages is English.
These fights, which more than anything else, at the moment,
What the hell is going on here?
It's going all crazy. I think it's later in the game where you can do all this. I haven't got that far.
on the illusion that it's utterly important that we survive.
But it's showing you all the different things they programmed into it from all different
I actually want
levels.
to show you a cool video of also a game that has to do with the subject we were talking about, which I think you would find super interesting. And it would provide you also a little more evidence that I think you would find interesting.
Are you
Okay.
afraid of losing?
Where should I
Where are
post
you
it?
gonna post it? Wherever you want.
Everything that you
Okay, I'll post it in the private chat, and then
Okay.
hopefully the sound is better for this one.
But at the same
I
time,
think you would find it very interesting.
that when you die, there won't be following.
It's almost over, this one.
Okay.
Everlasting nothingness.
I never seen it this far in my experience.
So
What? You can control balloons now.
you can become aware of this
Quantum level.
tremendous interconnectedness. Just as fronts go with backs and tops with bottoms, insides with outsides, solids with spaces. So everything
So,
that
Talk
there is
Dog,
together.
you spend a lot of time on Speech Channel. I see.
Whether it
I
lasts a
go
short
on Speech Channel quite a bit.
the
But
galaxy
who
goes
who were
together
the people
with all
that were
the
trying to
universe
join
just
in
as
here?
much
Did you know the people coming here?
No, don't think so. I didn't know you, so I just give you the chance. But they keep on having like issues with their mics or
Right. Okay. Yeah.
or they're trolling. There was like a for a second there with Tony, the guy that does that for a lot of people. He posts or shows a video or something of nudity stuff. So I had to cancel his thing. It was before I knew who it was. I let him on because he didn't have it on. I didn't see that. He posted it or showed it on his camera.
Right.
The thing. So I had to be ready to cancel him off the stream.
Right. But you say you didn't know me. I mean, you didn't recognize my name, and I mean, I'm on Speech Channel all the time and making comments and stuff. And
I mean, David. I didn't know the word David.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of right. It screwed you up. Yeah, I should have switched that, but I jumped onto the stream and didn't realize because Speed made me do that. I usually leave it, Laurie, because it's confusing and I haven't changed it over. You know, it's one of those things that I've used that name for so long, and I'm just known for that I just known by that name. I don't want to change it because I go on all kinds of streams and, you know, you chat with people in side chat and they just know you, you know, so if I change the name, then I mean, eventually it would correct itself after a while, but, you know, that's why I kind of just leave it alone, you know.
Which thing you're saying? What?
Could after you guys chat,
the video.
Show me that the I think you guys will find it very interesting, the video that I shared with you. So play it. I think people will find it quite interesting and cool.
Okay, here it is.
Hopefully the sound is better.
The world's
both loud.
First programmable computer, the Zeus Z1, was able to perform 2 flops or floating point operations per second. Modern computers do this 27 trillion times faster, and this has been achieved in a mere 79 years. According to scientists, the power of computers will grow several million times more in the next 100 years. It's hard to even begin to imagine what kind of world our children and grandchildren will live in. Already, virtual worlds like the one, for example, in Grand Theft Auto, shock with their detail. It's easy to imagine that they will become indistinguishable from reality in the next 50 to 100 years. In fact, it's possible that we will be able to create virtual universes in which the characters really think and have minds similar to ours, but won't know that they live in a simulation. This is frightening on many levels. And what if we are such characters already? What if the whole world that you see outside the window is a simulation? Philosopher Nick Bostrom first introduced the general public to this hype.
Well, first off, we have senses in the real world, so we could still know about, and we have memories. So that's one thing that helps us know that we're not living in a simulated world, and we can get off of it anytime and stuff like that.
Hypothesis regarding the virtuality of our world back in 2003. Its essence was that if many technologically developed civilizations exist in our universe, then it is likely that they can create simulations similar to those in which you or your children play sitting at your computers, only millions of times larger and more realistic. This means that you or I could be in the role of an NPC, a non-player character, in some alien sandbox right at this moment. And people really are taking this seriously. Elon Musk, for example, said in 2016 that there is only one chance in a billion that our reality is not a simulation. When you hear such a thing from somebody like Elon Musk, serious doubts regarding the nature of our reality begin to arise.
Elon is not a scientist. He's not studying actual real life.
Yeah, this seems really conflated as far as computer power, what they talked about. You know, I know the computer power was growing and growing, but I thought there was a limit to it, you know, that we could be approaching. That's why we're trying to, you know, that's why they're trying to develop the quantum computers. So those kind of, I don't know, this, based on my knowledge, this seems a little bit conflated to me.
Okay, but just watch, it gets better. This is not the best parts.
Oh, I'm sure it gets better. I'm sure it gets better. I think it's probably going to conflate a little more.
Do you guys know Elon Musk is actually from South Africa?
It doesn't matter where you're from, really.
Yeah, what does that have
to
do with anything?
I was just sharing that these
I
also
know.
from South Africa, like just.
I'm just saying. Too.
Just extra info. It just doesn't matter.
And oh yeah, they what was I gonna say? The person making this video has agenda too. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I don't think so. I think he is just open-minded. This guy. I don't think he's even a theist. I don't know.
You open your mind so much that it falls out is a problem.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to describe it.
Let us look at this. What he's saying.
Yep.
This forces us to at least begin a serious search for some kind of answers. And this we will do now. Evidence of our virtuality.
He's got a good voice.
Grand Theft Auto 5, also known as GTA 5, is a very good example of how all this could be accomplished. In the game, on one of the many streets of its virtual city called Los Santos, you see a very familiar picture. You are surrounded by cars that are hurrying to and fro somewhere into the distance, and crowds of people line the sidewalks. In general, everything's very similar to how it is in real life. And in the game, this general picture accompanies you everywhere, all the time, regardless of your location in Los Santos. If you turn a corner, you see more cars and more crowds of passersby. So being on that Los Santos street, you might think that the same story is happening to others, that life is alive and happening in the whole city at any point in the urban landscape. But in fact, this is simply not true. You must not forget that everything you see is just an illusion, built just for you. While you are on the street with the conditional name A,
it's not built just for you. It's built for anybody that, or from the people that built it. It's not built exactly for you.
What he's just saying is at that moment, the computer builds just that for you. He's not showing. He's not building the whole city to show to you. Understand? That's all he's saying. But it's not really important. But it's not. That was not an important point. But you can play.
Yeah, based on what you were talking about before earlier, some of the conversations that you were talking about, it's like you take this as absolute truth.
No, I'm taking this as interesting, and that's why I wanted to share.
Yeah, but that was a big part of your arguments. Was you were describing this video and like that was evidence for God, or that everything is designed. I mean, that's the way you were describing it. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Simulation or computer programs are polygons and stuff. What we don't have that in reality. We can keep on going deeper and deeper when we look. We're macro things and we're using macro things, so it's hard to really keep going deeper and deeper at a certain point. We have to use the math and stuff, and then use a computer program to model that math.
Yeah,
but it's not perfect yet, so we don't know really beyond what the math shows us. So we can make up whatever we want. Imaginations can do anything, but to actually understand what's going on, actually know, we have to use observations and trial and error and math. And then confirm. See it in reality. The models and stuff. See it actually in reality to make it confirmed, or what's the likeliness of that and stuff. So that's another thing. Likelihoods are not 100%. It was how we have to go through life too. So we could be wrong about a lot of things.
Yep, I agree.
Even the sun rising. Or coming from the horizon, it could blow up and stuff, and then anytime. But it just hasn't yet. So, and we have calculated that, and we know about stars exploding and stuff all the time. So
they say the sun is gonna explode at some time, but it's long, so we don't have to worry about that.
Why it's fine tuning to the creationists or whatever idea or the intelligent designers and stuff, because we're in that middle part where it has been stable or something. Relatively stable. It's really chaotic, actually. The fusions and stuff. It's not like the sun is always perfectly this static and stuff. That's another thing. The people, theists and stuff, think the universe is static in a lot of places, and because they're limited understanding. Because humans have designed so much now that we're taking over, and so we're trying to keep it all the same. The more things change, the more they stay the same, kind of thing.
Okay.
So I guess you gotta play the video again.
Has built Street B. Nothing happens there. The game continuously, magically draws for you this living, active life, while Street B drowns in silence. And in fact,
it's a save on processing.
Yes,
that's how computers need to work.
Work on this principle.
But in reality, it's photons and stuff still move. It's just that our brains have to, our eyes or retinas or whatever, have to, then our brains, because you can be blind. You still hit the photons, still hit your eyes. Your brain has to still interpret the photons, and then they have to be focused on photons. It's confusing. That's why life is so complex.
It's
but
crazy. Your brain switches the image around. Your eye sees the image upside down, and your brain switches. It's crazy. And even that blind spot in your eye, your brain fills that in. If you go and look, it fills it in with color, so that you don't realize you have a blind spot.
Yep. I think octopuses or cuttlefish or something have a better eye. You don't have that blind spot. So why would if you think the God was design things, or I mean not a God, but intelligent designer designed us as special or something? Why are they give us less when there's a possibility? I mean, in nature we see that their eyes that don't have that blind spot. So why do we have? It would make it better if we didn't have it.
Yeah, what the reason is, they are designed for the ocean. They don't come in contact with UV light. Our eyes are designed to be able to not die because of UV light. If you take their eyes and you put it in your eyes, then you would go blind from all the UV light. Their eyes are made for the water. Ours is made to actually be able to handle UV light from the sun. That's why it's turned around.
So the UV light get lost when it goes through water because the wavelength.
Yes, exactly.
I think if there's an intelligent designer, I think he's a pretty shitty designer, because there's a lot of shitty designing going on in the reality that I live in.
Like what?
I don't know about yours, but there's a lot of pretty shitty designs.
But then
the fact that I'm not, I could die of diseases. I get hurt all the time. I could think of a lot of ways that I can improve my design that would enable me to live a better life.
But
a safer life.
Don't be offended, but your argument is like a computer has viruses in it, and thus it's not intelligently designed. Or a car falls apart at the end of its life, and it breaks and it kills people, and a car causes so much suffering. So it's not that greatly designed. Otherwise, it wouldn't cause so much suffering.
But there's another thing that we have found in nature that can eliminate those problems too, diseases, and stuff, viruses, and that's why we're making vaccines and stuff, because we designed things that would help fight off those problems. So it would be a better design to have it already. But
I think
we
this is
find out in reality that things keep on changing.
That was my point exactly. You just described it a little better.
Okay, play.
Okay.
When you are absent
We
from
didn't like that argument.
Virtual.
No, you can pause and I can answer it. But I think the world has fallen. I think it was perfect at the beginning. Our programming code was perfect, and from copying any programming code, errors occur even if you copy computer code, and that's why it has automatic error correction in a computer. And the same is found in DNA. There's machines running down, double checking the code to see if it's correct, and then fixing it if it's not correct.
Because those are the ones that mutated that had that, and then survived.
Yeah,
back in the day.
And
I
how
mean,
do you
that's
know
what
that
Anchor-
everything was perfect? How do you know everything was perfect?
That's
How
my
would you know
theory.
that?
I think it's perfect because code usually, what happens with programming code, if you copy it a lot, errors occur. Any message that you copy a lot, errors occur while copying it. And even with a double checking of a computer, there's still errors that occur and run through that. The same in biology. Even with the double automatic error correction that they do, there's still errors sometimes going through, and that causes diseases and or malfunctions like cancer, where the cell doesn't follow his programming code and doesn't want to die. So that's where stuff like that happens.
But
That's from
you're talking
programming
about an intelligence that's supposed to be perfect. That made
Right.
us.
Why didn't he make it better than that? Why didn't he stop that process? He could have.
Yeah, what he should have done is he shouldn't have given us free will, because then nothing would go wrong. But unfortunately, he gave us free will.
Scapegoat, the free will card. Yeah.
It's like we one day make robots, and if we just give them no free will, then they won't be able to rebel against us. So then they always just follow our commands. But if we give them some kind of way to have free will, then they are able to rebel against our commands. So then they can start killing each other and trying to kill us, and then we destroy them.
That's not 100% either. It's just one of the variables, or some that they. I mean, we design things, for goals and stuff. Is another thing, and if it's not doing what we want, we stop it because we know how to stop it. Because it might not be instantly some things like giant equipment. If it's like combine and stuff, and then it's like programmed, like they have like many like farm equipment that does the work with that through GPS and stuff. And if they didn't build it with safety mechanisms and stuff, it would just do its job without stopping, or I mean, if the physics and stuff, but from physical contact with whatever changes it too. But it's confusing, like how the self-driving cars and stuff, how they're trying to make them better, and it still kills people, but it's not all the time. It's only random, like it's because the universe is so complex that so many variables you have to put in. Well, that's what testing and learning and fixing our errors and stuff all the time. That's just how we do it. Due to the goal thing, yeah. But it's complex. It's hard to really. You have to go through a lot of things. You can't just learn it from one person saying it. And you have to actually see what's going on in the world and what the studies have done. It's I don't know how to explain it. I watched so many people or studies and stuff of a lot of psychology too, or not psychology exactly, but just observing people and then what they do in certain situations.
Yeah.
So with the computer thing too, it's like, with like the videos and stuff, they're always going to be the same basically, unless they have glitches or they're told to do certain things, they can skip it or something.
Yeah, even have you seen?
It's different.
Have you seen when people load up a video onto YouTube and then they copy it again and load it up again and copy it again and load it up again? Then you see now how the computer deteriorates that video. It becomes worse and worse and worse.
It matters how you're recording it. If you're getting the source data and it's exactly the same, it's going to be perfectly the same, basically. If you're using like a recorder or something, maybe it will degrade because it's like taking the pixels. It matters the way you recorded and how good your quality is, and what the program itself has its own its own method of recording, I guess.
And YouTube tries to compress the video so it loses some of its. Yeah. So that's one also.
So, yeah. But if you have like 4K or something. Settings.
4K.
And then it matters about the. What's it saying? I guess I already said it all.
Okay, play.
Okay, play in the video. Oops.
City, there's absolutely nothing at this location. No people, no cars, no city itself. The developers optimized the game in order to reduce the load on the computer hardware. Thanks to this, you can enjoy such incredibly realistic graphics and in-game physics that are the modern masterpieces of the gaming industry. If a player, or rather a character, turns and looks at something, the computer makes the image in front of him as detailed as possible, and the textures and objects behind the player's back, that is, out of view, become as simple as computationally possible.
But they still exist in some sense in the game. So if there's like the enemy that moves and attacks you or something, or shoots a projectile, you're not looking at them. It's still attacking you.
Yeah, precisely.
Disappear altogether, except as a potentiality. As we said, this allows the computer to reduce the load on the game platform while maintaining beautiful graphics. If you look at the location from on high in GTA...
But there is a lot of things. I mean, they have computers that are programs or games that delete the things if you're just a little off screen or too much on the, or they even on the screen. You're like fighting something and then it disappears because it's like something else pops up that the computer prioritized. So so that's another thing that that's how we would notice something not being right. You don't see that happening in reality. Energy has to it can't be destroyed or created. So that we observed. So it just moves around or changes in the different forms. Like friction causes heat, so they lost some energy turns it into heat, and then it expands into the heat death or whatever of the universe too. It keeps, but it gets some gets absorbed in the walls and in your hand, of course. But then it keeps on flattening out to the average of everything. Everything is like bumps in each other and all that. So you have to deal with that's not energy moving into each other, but everything's like trying to average out, stabilize. That's what I meant. So it's called entropy, or what's the other word?
I'm not sure, but I think energy can be destroyed if you destroy an atomic bomb that destroy mass.
That's why I said
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they say they are able to destroy energy by destroying mass. I don't know. I'm not sure. So you can correct me on that.
It changes into a different type of energy.
That's right. Yeah, energy can't be destroyed. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
It's our understanding, because the invisible world from our point of view, because the photons aren't going in our eye, or we can't detect those photons, so we don't think they exist. But we have things that can detect, like called tools of science and data and all that. So makes it more likely that how we know what's going on, or it gives us more precision of what's going on in reality than our own personal experiences. Okay, like cameras and stuff aren't a consciousness either. So how are they getting the light? That's another thing you got to think about. Is that it means photons are the one, the electromagnetic spectrums and stuff is what we have called it. Why is it a magnet if it's like an energy beam? It's another thing. We have to understand that it's not a lot of science, and you have to know all the different variables and stuff. So it's hard to just learn one thing and say you know it all. And you have to go through many different sources and studying many different ways. I don't know, to get a better understanding. But you're never going to have a perfect understanding. It just gets better. It gets more precise. That's all we can do. Okay, I'm playing the video.
GTA 5, the whole city will look as if it is in the palm of your hand. and you will see how cars are rushing up and down all of the numerous streets. So, does that mean the power of the console or computer is enough for such a complex and detailed picture? Let's not jump to conclusions. The fact is that the physics of the game also get simplified for objects like cars that are far from the observer. If we fire a rocket into such distances, we can barely see it explode. If we fly closer, then the explosion looks much more detailed and realistic, and requires far more computer power. The next example is the game Civilization V.
But we don't have that in reality, so we can actually use tools and stuff that would be in reality would always be the same as if. I mean, the same. I guess you can't really because human perspective changes because you can be blind and it's confusing. I guess I just keep playing.
Quickly move the camera from one end of the map to the other. You will see the location loaded right before your eyes.
Too many concepts to think about.
Perfect, so we can see how the view responds to our action.
Just sit back and enjoy.
Looking at it. That is,
sit back
the observer
hear the
influences
tale.
the game world by the very fact of his or her observation. This is how any video games of the future will work as well. Even if super powerful computers can simultaneously calculate all the more or less large objects in a large location, even over many years, small details will remain to be rendered. Flies, blades of grass, and yes, even microbes, of which there are quite a few, all of which will be loaded only under the gaze of the observer player. Everything is for the sake of optimization. So, after that gaming preface, we now move on to the first proof of the theory that we are living in a matrix-like simulation. You may know about or remember one of the most famous experiments in the history of physics. The experiment of Thomas Young, the double slit experiment. It was a real coup in physics and led many scientists into the study of quantum mechanics. If you throw solid balls at a shield with a slit cut into it, a single diffuse strip designating the strike points will appear on the screen.
That's a macro understanding.
If there are two slits in the shield, then there will be two strips. But how will waves behave if aimed at the shield? They will pass through the slot and spread out. The greatest impact of the waves will be in the line of the slit, as in the case with the balls. But if you add a second slit, everything changes. A number of alternating interference strips will appear on the projection screen. And when we shine light on the two strips, this is exactly what happens. And this is how Mr. Young proved the wave theory of light. If light were corpuscular, like a particle, instead of wave-like, it would behave like the balls, and the screen would show two strips of light corresponding to the two slits. That didn't happen. Later, it turned out that electrons and protons behave exactly the same way, showing that they also seem to exist as waves and not as points. There was one assumption that perhaps light and the others were particles and that somehow the particles bumped into each other and flew apart. So, to test this, physicists decided to shoot electrons at the target one by one, single file. And what do you think happened?
What made it split before? That was weird. Why did they show it split before if it was one particle? I mean, there was nothing contacting, it looked like, on that graphics. That was just a, I guess, misunderstanding or something. I don't know.
The strangest thing imaginable. The interference pattern still appeared on the screen. It seemed that the single electron somehow divided into two waves, passed through both slits, then interfered with themselves. Impossible. So physicists tried to find out through which gap the electron actually passes. They installed measuring instruments to check this. Another seeming impossibility occurred. The electrons stopped behaving like waves and began acting like particles, and left a trace on the screen of two distinct strips with no interference. They had to admit something completely mind-blowing, that the fact of our observation or measurement destroyed the wave function of the photons.
Fail. Our observations, unless they're actually physically touching it or messing with it, would only make changes in that observation. So it's hard for it because it's so tiny and stuff. So what method would we do with it wouldn't be interfering with it to detect it in the first place.
Causing them to become like points, corpuscular. The electron, under the influence of observation, behaved like a particle, flying through one slit and not through two. Interpretations. Well, it certainly looks like the work of a game engine, doesn't it? This might make you think that our world is running like a game on a computer. The computer's power is not enough to calculate the motion of each and every particle, so it uses a simplified model and applies precise calculations only if an observer needs to look at the particle, so as not to break the illusion of the reality of the world for the observer. Such an explanation could not have occurred to people from the past.
Then how did they know through observing? Unless it was a physical thing changing it.
The results of Thomas Young's experiment were published in 1803, when it was impossible to even think about virtual reality. There were many theories suggested for just what the heck was going on, and the most famous of them, the Copenhagen interpretation, was proposed in 1927. Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg suggested that elementary particles are both waves and particles. To measure an electron, it is necessary to strike it against the screen of the measuring device. The wave functions of the electron collapse when it is measured, and it becomes only a particle. And this means that it is not exactly the observer, but the measuring device that influences the result of observation.
Ta-da!
But if this theory is correct, it still does not discount the hypothesis of the simulated matrix world. For example, a programmed photon could propagate in the network as a wave and restart when the node is overloaded, turning into a particle. This way, one can explain both quantum waves and the collapse of the wave function. The second most popular explanation of the behavior of particles is the many worlds interpretation. To greatly simplify, it looks something like this. We can assume that there are parallel universes in which the same laws of nature operate, and for each act of measuring a quantum object, the world splits into several versions. Each of these versions sees its own measurement result and acts according to it in its universe. In the eyes of the layman, this is a strange explanation. But it's a free world, at least we think it is, and so anyone can decide which interpretation.
Yep. Free will is an illusion.
They like best. In a poll of physicists held 20 years ago at a symposium under the auspices of the University of Maryland, 13 voted for the Copenhagen interpretation, 8 for the many worlds theory. Several other scientists chose other less popular options, and 18 participants opposed all known interpretations. Disputes are still ongoing. In 2006, scientists conducted a more sophisticated version of the two-slit experiment, this time with a deferred choice element involved. In simplified form, it goes something like this. Particles are again shot through a barrier with two slits in it, but this time the observation of which slit they pass through is made at a time when the particles have already passed through the slit, but have not yet hit the projection screen. Like an observer who only opens his eyes after a certain moment. And can you imagine this? The electrons behaved like particles at this moment, as if nothing had happened from the moment of their launch from the electron gun, as if they did not pass through both slits and did not represent a wave. It seems the particles knew that they would be measured before it ever happened.
Fail again. How are you observing that part without interacting too?
The second proof. The next hint at the existence of a matrix can be arrived at from the maximum speed in the universe, the speed of light. Einstein explained that nothing could move faster than photons in a vacuum. The speed of light is a limit and a constant.
What I see that he's saying nothing, but what I see, gravity can maybe ever so slightly could be maybe faster.
Well, in science, they say the speed of light is you can't go faster than that. I don't know if it's true, but it sounds like there's like a speed limit in the universe. It's quite weird.
But it's hard to really know the gravity. It's like so close to the speed of, the speed of light is so close to being gravity, but gravity could be ever so like very to the negative power or whatever difference. That's what I see.
You can slow down the speed of light. That's what you're talking about. Like a black hole pulls down the speed of light and slows it down, but you can't go faster than the speed of light. That's what they're talking about.
And I was thinking for a long time now that what happens when the black hole, since the Hawking radiation, it like shrinks. But if the black hole's spinning, and then gravity would lose out, and after if a supermassive black hole, whatever, it was spinning really fast.
You have to spin super fast.
But then, but it's shrinking and it makes it spin faster. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that's maybe how universes get created from black holes, because we already know that supernovas already create new solar systems. So what happens if a black hole exploded, or that's what the Big Bang, but it's not exploded, but it's hard to explain because it's at the speed of light, which is like an explosion to us. So relativeness. And I don't think that even there's a lot of the scientists don't even think that the Big Bang exactly that it was what happened exactly like what. That's hard to explain because we don't have any real methods to know, and we don't have any real life data to know anything other than particles that we can collide in the Hadron Collider and stuff. That's the closest what we can do in real life to see what the beginning of the universe.
Yeah, what's also quite interesting is that a dark energy is accelerating the universe apart. It's quite crazy. There's something pushing the whole universe apart.
What I think is like, or hypothesis that I made up my own idea of whatever, is like the atoms and stuff because gravity makes things go slow in time. But then what happens when you have no gravity or less gravity, like particles, like gas particles or dust particles, are left alone for a long time, and then time's going a lot faster for them. So then the particles or atoms and stuff could fly apart, which expands space. Because space-time is, everything is space-time to me. Just motion that it entangles itself, whatever it's called. My mind, I've seen so many things, but they haven't really. Well, they have confirmed a lot of things that my mind, before they actually said before I actually watched a video of what they're saying. What it confirms what my thoughts of the hypothesis that I have made up my own. I keep on watching like Nova and stuff. They keep on having new information that's going on, and finally it keeps hitting those marks that what I was thinking of. So the scientists have actually come to find it in real life. What since I watch a lot of science videos and stuff, and so I guess my observations or logic of the observations before actually were confirmed. So,
and what's also another cool thing is what's crazy is that time is not the same everywhere. If it's relative to speed or something, because if you're in a satellite, they have to take that. They have to take that into consideration, and otherwise your GPS wouldn't work. Their time is a little different than our time. That's crazy.
That's what I was saying. I was saying that like black holes and stuff, the time stops or comes pretty close to stopping.
That's crazy.
And that's why you can't get light pi. You can't get out escape either. So that's the horizon, whatever you call it. And that when you have no gravity or less gravity, like empty space, where it's not completely empty, it's like dust and gas, that time goes a lot faster, so those atoms aren't getting more energy from anything either, so they're expanding, they fall apart maybe, and then they heat death, whatever, and they expand the space-time, so that's what dark energy is. Dark energy is not an actual thing, it's an idea that since we don't know what it is. So that's one of the hypotheses that I come up, or they actually have said something like that. I watched a video of from the beginning to the heat death or whatever.
Yeah, you were talking also about the event horizon of a black hole. You were talking
that one.
Event horizon.
Yep. That's where the point where time stops so much that the photons can't leave, or
well, we don't know.
Something like that. I mean, that's where I'm thinking of why that's happening, why photons can't escape, because time has stopped to our position. I mean, point of view.
Or perhaps light is just slowed down from gravity.
It's slowed down to a point that it's almost stopped. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But once it releases out of that gravity well and stuff, it'll go back to the same speed. So, so if the universe could have been a black hole, that's what I mean. And they also said something about antimatter and stuff existing when the Big Bang happened. So, but then they have that little inconsistency. I got to show you the.
Yeah, I know about that.
Or not link. I mean, not show, but link. That's what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
I
think I know about that.
Birth of the universe.
It's not precisely the same amount of antimatter.
It's in the chat. Oops, I did. For some reason I didn't have my chat updated for a long time. The speed of sound was on. Oops. I have a pop-up from the YouTube chat on the left. I have private chat on the right for the StreamYard. Oh, I'm over 3 hours. I never had it this long.
Okay, we can watch the video and then we can finish it, or whatever you think is best.
Okay,
still.
Watch that video that I put in the chat.
Sure.
Sometime. I mean, you don't have to watch it now. I mean, after you can watch it whenever you feel like it. Of course, that's one thing.
Sure.
It's your freedom. I'm not forcing down anybody's throat. I'm just here providing. I'm opening doors. And then people actually will have to walk through. That's all.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, the video.
Constant. Additionally, the faster an object moves, the more time slows for that object. At a speed of 300,000 kilometers per second, time stops altogether. That is, you could get to distant galaxies, let's say 3 billion light years away, in the blink of an eye on a spacecraft that had such a speed. According to your time, of course. Those same 3 billion years would pass for a terrestrial observer. So time for a photon stands at 0. It cannot accelerate faster. For this,
and I forgot about that. When you go faster through space, you're adding more gravity. It seems like because you're going through space faster. Then you get larger too. It stretches out. To my mind, that it's another hypothesis that seems like it's being confirmed. That atoms and stuff, the particles, the waves and stuff, can only go so fast at the speed of light and stuff at the molecular or atom particle level, quantum level there. So then they get longer to orbit and stuff. So then they get larger, and so it makes the object, the macro object, get bigger. I mean, stretch longer actually, and then it's getting more energy from moving through space. So energy is related to motion, it seems like to me. It's like you can't think of energy without motion.
Yeah.
Weird. It's like tied together. Okay, back to the video.
It would have to slow down time even more, which is impossible as time has already stopped. But why do speed and time have such a relationship? Why are space and time interrelated? The answer suggests a virtual world. The matrix hypothesis assumes that the speed of light is a product of information processing. That is, the world is being updated at a certain rate. It's 1 trillion times faster than any of our supercomputers now, but the principle is the same. Time slows down with an increase in speed. Because virtual reality depends on virtual time, each processing cycle is 1 tick. When the computer slows, the playing time also slows down a bit. This is very similar to the way in our world that time slows down with increasing speed or near to massive objects, which points to the possible virtuality of our universe.
but it's actually not unstable. I mean, we can actually calculate the how the thing. So if it was simulated, it would be unstable. But nature, I don't know, it's confusing. It's obviously unstable in a different way too, but it would be calculable. So it becomes stable and whatever. Like when you're moving at a certain speed and stuff. It's only our perspective. We know what's stable or unstable too, but oh well.
It can be assumed that in a ship that rushes with tremendous speed, the processing cycles of the system hang for the sake of saving resources. The third piece of evidence. The most serious proof that we live in a matrix simulation is quantum entanglement. Well, what is it exactly? A photon flying through space can be considered to be rotating. That is, it has something called spin. In fact, photons don't really rotate, but this is a simplified model. So, physicists believe that, most likely, before a particle is observed, it does not even have a specific spin. That is, no one is looking at the photon yet, so it cannot determine which way to turn, and is considered to be in a superposition of uncertainty. It would seem that it's difficult for nature to calculate the rotation of each
foreskin.
particle. And so...
Did you? I just noticed I was using speed of sounds term foreskin.
Yeah, I mean, I did play the video yesterday for him because he couldn't turn up the sound for the debate.
Yeah.
I played it for him. Then I had to deal with that too.
Yeah, I just noticed. I don't know if you realize it. Ontangelo has got a debate tonight, which I just found out on Modern Day Debate.
Oh,
they must have just set that up.
Yeah,
and it's tonight.
I'll
So
let
it's on in a half an hour actually. So
okay, we'll be finished by then.
So
Definitely.
yeah. No, I just want to let you guys know that I'm gonna just back out and take off. But thanks for having me, and it was a good conversation.
Thanks, David.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for your ideas and pushing against my ideas. It's always interesting.
See ya.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Cheers,
Thanks, guys. We'll see
Bye.
you.
Yep. Okay, I guess back to the video then.
It uses a simplified scheme for this. But again, when an observer appears, the particle becomes physically more complex and more real, and its rotation is calculated. An experiment was proposed by Albert Einstein, which was to test the Copenhagen interpretation for strength. Some very interesting results were obtained from this experiment. The essence of it goes like this. If an atom, for example, cesium, emits two photons in different directions, then because of the law of conservation of momentum, their state will be interconnected. If one of them rotates from the bottom up, then the other will rotate from the top down, always. They will always have spin in opposite directions. This is called quantum entanglement. But remember, the photons do not know which way to spin before they are observed. So in this case, if the fact of observation made one choose one of the options, its tangled partner must then immediately have a spin in the opposite direction. That is, by the very fact of our observation of one photon, we affect the spin of the other photon, even though we did not observe the second photon. And the second photon is required not only to find a spin, but to do so instantly, even if the photons are at a great distance from each other. That means that if the entangled photons were somehow sent even to different ends of the universe, this information about which way it should be spinning should somehow fly or jump across the universe to its partner at several quadrillion times faster than the speed of light, so that it basically instantly gets its spin. This is incredible. It violates the very laws of physics as we know them, because nothing can move faster than photons in a vacuum. However, the second photon still manages somehow to get this information in zero time. But how? How does the partner entangled photon learn with such speed that a colleague was observed? and so know to spin in some particular direction.
So how would we know if the other one has to be observed, doesn't it? How did we know?
I don't know how scientists did that, but they figured out that it as a random and it doesn't know what it just. If you just see later in the video, they explain how a little bit more of how they did it.
I know. I'm just saying if the photon or the electron is not getting into the observing thing at the exact time or same way or something. I don't know. That's hard. And then we have to know the time dilation and stuff too. Yeah. From that distance from space.
This is what science is trying to do.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's just confusing. Yeah, I have seen a lot of quantum tape, but it's still hard for a wrap around our minds. Stuff like that.
Einstein was convinced that such an instantaneous connection was impossible.
Spooky action
and
from a
he
distance.
assumed that when entangled photons emerge from the atom, they already contain information about the past and know which direction they will rotate if or when they are observed. That is, the observer does not change things, but only recognizes the spin of the particle. But 17 years after Einstein's death, it turned out that this singular, unparalleled genius was mistaken in this case. That's right. Einstein was wrong. To prove the presence or
because he wasn't actually using it, it was just his opinion. That wasn't based on actual things, because there was probably no way to do it at that time either. He was just using it by the mathematics or something. I can't remember what he used to get the information in the first place that they were actually quantum entangled.
Of information about the direction in which the particle rotates after observation, Irish physicist John Bell set up a very complex and ingenious experiment. The results were astounding. Bell proved that the entangled particle does not have a clue before it is observed in which direction it will spin. The photon randomly chooses a spin only after measurement. And this is proof that entangled elementary particles can transmit information to each other much faster than the speed of light. The experiment gave us more new questions than answers. In 2008, a group of researchers from the University of Geneva decided to clarify the speed of information exchange between entangled particles. They were able to separate from each other two entangled photons at a distance of 18 kilometers. They measured one particle and recorded how fast the second reacted to it. The technology they used allowed them to measure a delay time of up to 100,000 times faster than the speed of light. But there wasn't even such a minuscule pause as this. It turned out that, as measured, the photons somehow were able to transmit information at least 100,000 times faster than the speed of light, and maybe even instantly. Perhaps Einstein was right when he said that instant communication in the physical world is impossible. But if we substitute a virtual reality in place of the physical world, the instant connection is easily explained.
Or we just don't know enough. Because that's another problem. Why would we think it was virtual just because we don't know? That's another part. We don't presuppose things in science, hopefully. So we have just to understand what we observe, I guess. And that's just gets confirmed and verified and stuff. So multiple ways and multiple people. It's not just one person doing it. So it's consensus and all that. Okay.
Photons become entangled. Their programs are combined to jointly see the 2 points. This combination of programs will respond for both pixels, if we can call them that, no matter where they are. At the moment of measuring one particle, its program randomly chooses one of the spins, and the program of the second immediately reacts. It becomes clear why the distance isn't important. The processor does not need to go to the pixel to ask it to spin, even if the so-called screen is large, even as large as a universe. Physicists say that no one really understands quantum mechanics. But if we assume that our world is virtual, everything quickly becomes quite clear. To describe the world of elementary particles and their interaction, scientists use quantum mechanics. And for the macro world, Einstein's general theory of relativity is used. But if these two worlds coexist in nature, then a theory must exist that would allow for both. And
the theory of everything.
Theory of everything. Perhaps the theory of everything could be a creator. That would explain almost anything.
That doesn't come into at all, actually. But
scientists have always looked for a theory that can explain everything, and I think one of those theories could be, say we were in a creator world, a theory like a creator would be able to explain what is happening and why it's happening and stuff like that. It's like a theory of everything. But that's just the idea.
Yeah, another hypothesis of mine that I was thinking that since they say that gravity and stuff doesn't work in the quantum level, so that's why the problem Einstein stuff doesn't mesh well with the theory of quantum mechanics, is because we haven't have a way to know that energy itself is the space-time. So it causes gravity by existing in motion. So I don't know if they confirmed that yet or whatever. So then that would make the quantum level only have gravity because I mean it's quite hard to say. There's quantum level. They're so tiny. Gravity's weak, so the quantum level things get moved around more by other forces. So you can't see the gravity at that level. That's the problem. That's why we can't confirm it. So what I'm trying to say is that gravity, when it gets, not gravity, but the enough macro size of the motion of atoms and particles, whatever, start building up, that would overtake the other forces that were that tiny, and then gravity, of course, takes over when it gets more and more motion and atoms and particles, whatever. So that's what I'm trying to say. So the space-time itself is its own fabric, and they already say that. So then space-time is everything. So it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
So that's why it warps on and stuff. But when it's so tiny that other forces take over, so we can't detect the gravity. That's my idea. Okay.
This is exactly what the hypothesis of simulation does. It perfectly explains this. The mysteries of the Big Bang, the curvature of space, the tunnel effect, dark energy, and dark matter all can be explained on the basis of the assumption. They say this simulation theory, even if confirmed, wouldn't change anything. But official confirmation could strongly spur new research, and perhaps scientists would be able to find new shortcomings in our world, and they could be used to create new technologies. For example, if quantum effects are caused by the virtuality of the universe, the creation of quantum computers or quantum cryptography can be called the use of the conventions of our world. Are we in a matrix? New, indirect hints that we live in a matrix are discovered every year. At such a rate, in about 30 years, the virtuality theory of our world could become as official in the world of science as the theory of evolution today. Perhaps it won't be too long until they teach in schools that we live in a virtual world. Although it is somewhat demotivating, realizing that you might be just a complicated program with feelings and self-consciousness. Elon Musk believes that, on the contrary, it would be good news. The simulation hypothesis solves the Fermi paradox and shows that intelligent civilizations are able to avoid self-destruction and technologically grow to achieve even the creation of virtual worlds. So, life in the Matrix for Mr. Musk is a pretty decent utopia. He wants this to be true. By the way, recently the famous scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson and some of his colleagues spent several hours debating the topic, is the universe a computer simulation? Be sure to watch it. If you like this topic, I advise you to see the film.
That's quite an interesting video, huh? Or did you find it a little bit interesting?
A lot of science, talking about science stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of good ideas, and but they half truth. They shove in like the Matrix or whatever. When I mean, they're saying there's evidence, but it's just still a misunderstanding of from our point of view, how nature works and stuff. We're comparing it to what our understanding of making things and stuff.
It could be evidence, or it could be a misunderstanding. I'm not an expert in that field yet, so I'm still trying to learn, because it's quite difficult to understand those weird stuff that happens in this universe.
There are things like, I mean, to understand things, there can be evidence, but good evidence is to where it's stronger. It's actually something to care about. Where it's just evidence, it could be many different things.
Yeah, Top Dog, is this the longest? Is this the longest stream you've ever done?
Yep. Well, of my own. I've been on like 7-hour streams with like Maddox or something.
Oh, okay. 7 hours. How do you do that? That's crazy.
I don't know. How are we doing 3 hours and 4 hours?
No, but like 7 hours. What are you talking about?
I just listen more, or then maybe I did say some things that like what we've been talking about, but he would not even try to give an inch, like thinking wise. He wouldn't. I mean, actually talk about real life. He would just care about book characters and stuff. He would talk more about or the code thing, and keep on not actually getting to the understanding of what real life we find, and the understanding of how human brains are fallible and all that, and how science is actually testable and confirmable. That's why evolution has been like one of the most strongest theories, and it's almost like a fact. It is a fact, basically, the fact of the theory kind of thing.
Well, they discover new things in evolution all the time. Like that they thought worked some way, and then they discover that it actually worked a different way. Like they discovered like like the DNA could last much longer or something, because they found DNA of dinosaurs, and they always thought in evolution or in the whole science that DNA can't stay alive that long. Can't.
It wasn't dinosaurs. Their bones are fossilized, which turn into different material and minerals and stuff. So there's no carbon. There's no DNA.
Oh, there was like soft tissue.
That's another thing. People misunderstand that too. Gotta listen to what the actual person that discovered that was what their methods and stuff to get to what that was. It's not.
Scientists didn't want to accept it.
Biological thing. Like,
the beginning.
I don't think it's been an acid and everything. It was just a thing that they found after doing many hours of acid baths or something.
Yeah.
It's not like if it was there, it would be we could see it in the bone just by breaking it in half or something. We would see the minerals, but by turning it into acid and stuff, it changes the composition of things. It's hard to explain. Just by looking at what the actual people, the scientists, discovered, not what creationists or intelligent designers propagate or misrepresent. Yeah. So that last post or comment or chat in the chat or public chat, that's a good video for helping understand fact versus theory versus hypothesis versus law explained.
Okay, I'll check the videos later on. I first have to take some sleep time or something, and then I'll check that and go through the chat and everything. But it was fun talking to you, and
you too.
I learned some stuff, and I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to everyone. So thanks for letting me on, man.
Yep. Thank you for coming in.
Okay, cheers, man.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that's all for today, everyone. Bye.